Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Corruption Podcast here on the 17th of October. What on earth are you doing?
We don't know. Out. Oh, rocking out.
No, I was getting us pumped up like a pregame. You know how like sports.
I was actually listening to the intro music. Y'all were just pretending.
Of course,
pretending. I was getting pumped up.
Yeah,
you can't expect to actually pay attention to what's going on in the show, can you?
I was pretending.
Yeah, he was pretending.
Okay, well at least you're willing to admit that.
Guys,
going. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Co-optional Podcast.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah.
We are the reason why Visceral Games just shut down.
What?
Well, no, we might not be, but they did. They literally did just a few minutes ago.
We might not be.
We might not be the reason why Visceral Games was closed by EA, but we could be. Like, there is not necessarily proof that we are not. We can't disprove that at the moment. But apparently Visceral Games just got shut down by EA. So, yet another studio eaten, apparently, into the void and never to return.
Ripped on gate.
Ripped on gate.
Yes,
Yo,
indeed.
this is like the... Look.
What?
Look.
What?
Look, I'm so mad.
What?
Usually, I don't get mad at EA. I'm very respectful of EA.
That's not
nonsense.
False.
But Visceral 1 is awesome. 2, Dead Space rules forever. And 3, they were making the new Star Wars game.
Yep.
Were they?
Yes, they're making the heading Star Wars game. So, like, what?
Yeah.
What is happening with that property now?
It's still happening. There is, in fact, information on that. They put out a statement saying that they were working on an action-adventure title set in the Star Wars universe, and its current format was shaping up to be story-based linear adventure game. Through the development process, we've been testing the game concept with players, listening to feedback, blah, 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 and closely tracking fundamental shifts in the marketplace. It has become clear that to deliver an experience that players will want to come back to and enjoy for a long time to come, we need to pivot the design. In other words, they're saying they're making it a bigger, broader... It's like, in other words, that sounds like you're building something that's like trying to follow market trends as opposed to just having an original vision for it and then just making the game. But that also means that they shut down Visceral and they're moving and revamping whatever the Star Wars thing is. And I don't like the sounds of that. I've got to be honest. Like, when they come out and say, yeah, we're trying to pivot the design to more closely follow current player trends. Like, so what you're basically telling me is that your original design vision for this meant jack shit to you. That doesn't sound good to me at all.
Wait, did they make like Battlefront 2, or is this a completely different?
They have nothing to do with Battlefront 2.
Oh,
no, they did
Battlefront
Dead
2 is
Space. Visceral
DICE.
was Dead Space.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
right now, Star Wars is kind of doing not to the same extent, but they're kind of doing the Warhammer thing right now, where they're like, who wants to make a Star Wars game?
Except, like, they never tell us anything about them. Like, we've known the Visceral game has been in development for years, and then we have no idea what exactly they're going to do with it. There's been very little information about it, and suddenly the studio that was making it has broken down. A statement that's come out and says, oh, we want to make it broad. It's like, I just see it's going to be... It seems like a design by committee bullshit thing already. And I hate that. It's like,
Guys.
If you made a solid single-player Star Wars game, people would buy it.
We, instead of making that, right, we make Star Wars Battlegrounds. All right? Star Wars Battlegrounds.
Literally just PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, except everybody's a stormtrooper.
Yeah.
Is that what you want to play?
Yeah, that's what I want to play.
I mean, a lot of people would be just fine with that.
I'll play it. It's probably better than Battlefront 2.
Well, that wouldn't take much, especially considering the current circumstances with it. There was news of that this week, of course, as well. We'll talk about that in the news segment, where, let's just say, EA had a lot of feedback that said their system was crap, as we discussed last week, and they responded and didn't fix anything. So we'll talk about that later. Of course, that'll happen in the news, but we will spend the first couple of hours of the show talking about some of the games that we have been playing this week.
I am livid. I'm furious. I hate them so much. I hate EA so much.
That has become clear. Yeah, I don't necessarily blame you, because when it's so brazen to me that they make a statement like that, talking about tracking fundamental shifts in the marketplace. It's the kind of shit you bring up in a shareholders meeting, not a public announcement to gamers. It's like you are, in every essence of the word, admitting that you did not care about what it is that they were making, What you care about is making something that would fit current market trends, instead of just building a game to find an audience in and of itself. I hate that. I hate that notion.
For only $21, you too can find out the latest market trends in gaming news through our EA News site.
Which has a Star Wars theme. You know, it's all projected through BB-8.
They want you to pay money to get news?
No, Crendor's
I was
bullshitting.
making a joke.
Oh, fuck.
That's
I was going to
the
be like,
humorous
what?
joke through the DLCs.
Yes, he's just talking out of his ass. Which is...
I believed because Jesse followed it up with, I hate them. And I was like, what? Is that
Well,
real?
he hates
No.
them anyway. He hates them
Yeah,
all
I
the
mean,
time.
he already hates them. No, I get that. Just
yeah.
like combined, I believed for a second.
It sounds to me like they're just going to shove in more multiplayer elements that nobody asked for and other ways to loot box monetize.
That clearly is what that means.
Yes.
We're going to follow trends and we're going to add bullshit to our game. There is no other explanation for that.
No,
this
not
isn't
really.
like we've really thought about it and we're like going to change up the game. No, that's
No, you're
bullshit. You are literally going to fuck this game up now. You're the worst. I hate you so much.
Yeah. Well, what annoys me about it is like they could make anything that was Star Wars and it would sell. And honestly, just making a single player game in the Star Wars universe would sell millions of copies, but that's not enough for them, is it? It's not enough for it's got to tick every fucking box. We have to have the multiplayer, and we have to have a meta game that will keep people coming back for years. We have to have a monetized loot box system. We have to have an endless progression system. This and that and everything. It reminds me a lot of what's been going on with Shadow of War, which is probably going to be the first game we're going to talk about, because at least 3 of us have played a lot of that, where I'm already feeling overwhelmed by the amount of bullshit that's in it. Dodger, go.
I was gonna say, I feel like if they made a new version of what Force Unleashed was, people would play the shit out of that.
Absolutely.
That's not
Absolutely.
Shadow of War.
It is not Shadow of
It
War.
is
I
not.
needed to get that thought in there before we derailed into Shadow of War
Hey, no problem.
and
no problem.
stopped talking about Star Wars.
But it's a nice segue, because Shadow of War, in many ways, to me, feels like they just shoveled in as much shit as they could and bloated the game to ludicrous degrees. Like the addition of multiplayer, the addition of all of this online stuff that literally nobody asked for. Like, it's not even an actual multiplayer mode. It's just you can attack people's forts and the blah, blah, blah. So let me tell you my first fort capturing experience in Shadow of War. They recommend that you do this. After you've captured your first fort in the story, they're like, how about you go capture someone's fort online? I'm like, sure, why not? I mean, you put a marker in the middle of my game world to basically force me to engage with the online mode whether I want to or not, so I might as well give it a shot. So I go into this online mode and I invade this poor sap's fortress, and I put my best orcs in, because, hey, whatever. And within the first 3 seconds, my legendary orc permanently dies. To what? I don't know. He just did. Like, as approaching the wall, I guess he got flattened by a rock or something and died permanently. It's like, well...
But it's
So-
fine. Even if you behead somebody in that game, they can always come back.
Except in when they die in online mode, where they definitely will not come back. They're dead for good.
Oh.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, that's neat. You spent a lot of time kind of hunting him and capturing him because he was a bit of a dick, because he had a lot of nasty traits. And he got flattened by a rock within the first 3 seconds of me attacking this dude's fort. That's engaging gameplay. It's like I had literally no control over whether this guy died or not. But I'm just like, why is this even in the game? Initially, Jesse, you probably played further in it than I have, but with the fortress capturing in particular, I felt like they shoved that in the game to give it this sort of infinite replayable loop, where it's like, you could just keep capturing the fortresses and defending the
what
fortresses.
the online shit is. Like, it's very obvious. Like, this goes back to this fucking Star Wars. I'm so mad.
That's why it was a good segue!
No, you're absolutely. I guarantee if I had to guess what happened, it was, hey, we made our game, the game's done, and then some guy is like, how do we keep the kids playing and make lots of money? I guess we could make it so that you can buy items and then you compete with people online to take their forts, and much like shitty mobile games where you fight over like castles and stuff, you want to buy better things because you don't want to lose your forts.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
literally
like,
what it is.
You're just
It's like they took
implementing
a
mobile stuff.
They took Ebony and stuck it inside of
Like there's a lot of Clash of Clans and stuff in there as well. What annoys me now that I've engaged in that ranked mode, I don't know. Have I opened myself up to now being attacked by other players? Am I going to come back tomorrow and find that all my favorite orcs are fucking dead? Like, I don't even know, because the game didn't even warn me about any of this shit when I first went into it.
have not. It's been like, yo, a person on your friends list was attacked. Do you want to save them online? And I know the first game
that
did
happened in the first game, yeah.
Yeah.
It took you out of the world in the first one, definitely. I remember noting that in my video. I'm like, well, it's kind of neat that it's here, but simultaneously, I'm having my Lord of the Rings experience, and now XX Sephiroth 99XXX is somehow part of the Lord of the Rings canon!
Yeah, it's like, you've got to save him. He was murdered. I was like, wait, but do I? Do I really give a shit? Like,
No,
I don't
you don't.
care. Let that guy deal with his own nemesis. I don't care.
Well, they've tied that into legendary sets now, so if you want to get, like, the best items, you've got to do these online vendetta missions.
Right, but people are like, nothing happens to your stuff if you get attacked. That's not what they're like.
Well, it does in ranked mode.
The
whole point.
objective is that they're trying to, like, set up the rank system where it's like, I've got to be
The very best.
and in doing so, I've spent tons of money to be the very best.
I know how that feels. Yeah, I've done that.
Are you saying that some people
Me.
would buy crates online in Shadow of War?
Not in Shadow of War.
We would say, Sam, why would you buy it? And he's like, oh, no.
It's like
Sam's a whale, and he completely admits to being a
I'm
whale.
Yeah, I am as well. Like the thing
That's what I
about
respect about him.
I don't give
He knows what he wants.
I don't give a fuck about the online, like, fort capturing shit in Shadow of War because it's not interesting. Like, I cared about that stuff in Clash Royale because it's a good game. I care about that stuff in Titanfall Assault. Like, I'm in the top 200 players in Titanfall Assault right now. And I care about that because, like, it's a fun, compelling game. But this whole Fortress Assault things is so fucking tacked on that I would never care about engaging in the online mode competitively. It's a waste of fucking time.
I want to, like, so a lot of people on the chat are like, but Shadow War's still good.
I don't know if it is, but go for it.
I think Shadow of War is a mediocre game held aloft by an incredible nemesis system.
That's exactly what it is.
It is. The story is super jank. The, like, gameplay is repetitive over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And the only thing that keeps all the mechanics feeling fresh is the fake layer of, like, this nemesis that keeps coming up, or the orcs that, like, randomly appear and make it, like, crazy for a minute.
Yes.
Other than that, like, I understand why I like the game. I like the game because it's weird and funny and quirky, but it's buggy and shit doesn't work sometimes. And fucking, like, weird stuff happens graphically, glitch wise. Like, it's not
As the
good.
AAA title.
Yes.
Yeah.
The writing isn't good. The VO, like, God, the first act is like, what's he say? What the fuck? I don't.
Celebrimbor?
Yeah. What's the name of the? Yeah, but what's the name of the main
Talion?
character? Talion under the ring, under the Palantir. But no, Celebrimbor. We must talk to the spider once again. She will tell us the truth. No, Talion. The spider is the liar. It's like,
Also,
but
can we talk about how
Celebrimbor,
canonically
I want
They
to
say
bone the
Palantir
spider.
like 50 billion times.
Fucking
like the
shut
Palantir.
up about the
Palantir.
Palantir. Holy
Did you know
shit.
about the Palantir.
No,
Also,
not the
can we talk about
Palantir.
Canonically, Shelob decided to be, according to this, decided to become a spider because spiders were, like, fucking sneaky. And so, like,
No,
There's-
wasn't it that,
could have
like,
been.
he saw that Sauron created a body for himself, and she
Yeah,
was like,
she was
well,
like-
I want a body. And
Yeah.
so she, like, made herself super hot. And
It's
I'm
like-
like, but that doesn't achieve your goal. Like,
They
it
just went on
doesn't make
Tumblr.
sense
They found a
in the
fanfic.
story
Yeah.
to
And
me.
they're like, this is
Oh.
sexy, Shelob.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Sexy
It's
Shelob
literally,
is like, what the
as
fuck?
uncover backstory, it's like, because it's not part of the main thing, it's like a side quest stuff. It's literally like, yo, I was shacking up with Sauron back in the day, and, like, he decided to get himself a body, and I was like, fuck it, I want a body, but I want to be a spider, but then, like, I kind of want to be a sexy lady too. And it's like, what? What?
It didn't make any sense because like she's constantly, it's not like she's a super seductive character. She's like a constantly intimidating character.
Yes.
So like, Sheila, why would you create a body that like why not continue to have your super intimidating body that helps you get shit done that you want to get done, right? Sauron had a like warrior body so that he could fight. Like, I don't get it.
Sexy Sheila.
I mean,
I don't know what's going on with that. Like, you have to, let's just, if you care about Lord of the Rings canon, please ignore this entire game. Because Jesus Christ, like, it's all over the place. And
it is. It's bad fan fiction. Again, the game is not good, but it becomes in that good category based off of the Nemesis system.
yes, that's exactly how to describe the first one.
It elevates the game from beyond shit to like, well, this is fun. I'm feeling good about this. But it's all like surface layer fun. Where if that system did not exist, you'd be like, oh, this is garbage.
Yeah, I mean, I think we said this the first time with the first game, where it's like, I wish they took the system and put it in a better game that wasn't just Assassin's Creed Arkham Light, which is what this game is. Like, their combat system is barely improved, if at all improved from the original. It's still exactly the same of, you are basically invincible if you press spacebar or right-click at the right time. And there is a big margin for error on both. And there are various ways of coming back from that as well. That game, in my opinion, would work way better as a sort of Warriors, Dynasty Warriors style slash-em-up game, and yet they try and keep you as much as possible away from doing area of effect damage, despite the fact that they fucking flood you with orcs, which is the same as the first one, where like, here's 30 orcs, but the vast majority of your attacks only hit one of them at a time. So you're constantly bouncing, and the bounce halfway across the screen shit is still there. It's like, I'm over here, I'm over here.
That's the full-on Arkham shit.
It is, it's full-on Arkham stuff, and I thought, hey, look, you're going to use that in the first one? Great. But you'd used it again.
I've never played, like, Arkham. I've played, like, Assassin's Creed, like, twice. And so I was like, all right, I'll try this out. And so when I was fighting the one orc, he's like, all right, fight me. And I just kept flipping over the orc, and then I'd hit him, and I'd flip back, and then I'd mean to like flip over him, but I'd flip over another orc after I flipped over him, and it was just like constant flipping. And the other orcs were standing around watching, like, yeah, we could get him, but we'll just watch.
Yeah, occasionally they'll fuel attack at once, but that just means you have to right-click like twice. Like, within a pretty lenient margin of error. Like, there is an AoE attack that you get from the start, but it interrupts your flow completely. I hate the glaive attack. It's like, I'm slashing away, but then I want to do an area of effect attack, so he kind of stops for a second to...
You have to wait.
And then it brings the glaive up, and then you attack with it. Like, that breaks the flow of combat completely.
And it especially in a big combat situation where you want to use that, well, how do you have time?
Good luck. They'll all interrupt you. So there's all sorts of shit going on with that. Like, the combat system was never good. This one isn't. It's not good either. And it's exactly what you said. It's all down to these to the Nemesis encounters that make things interesting.
So I killed the one orc, right? And then he revived. He's like, I got second chance or whatever the shit.
Oh god, death defying happens so much in this game. It's crazy.
Then I killed him again. And then I had to refight him because I didn't hit B fast enough. And I was like, what? Because you had to hit the quick time event.
Yeah, sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't.
Yeah, so I was spamming attacks. So I was like, I just want to kill him. And chat's like, oh my god, how did you not know to hit the quick time event? And I'm like, because I've never killed an orc before, and now I do.
And
I'm like,
the quick time event doesn't come every time anyway. Like, it's unreliable as to when you have to do the QT. You don't have to do it on every orc. So it's actually really easy for the QT to pop up, and immediately you accidentally press the wrong button. And then you're like, oh, well, I fucked that up then. And then the guy just disappears. I'm like, well, that was a waste of time.
All I'm imagining is Crendor LARPing with a giant sword fighting an orc, and everyone would be like, oh my god, what are you doing? He's like, I've never fought an orc before.
I never fought one before.
How am I supposed to know?
Then he's like, oh, I'm going to leave and go over here now. And then I had to refight him. It was the stupidest shit. And then some guy comes in and he's like, I've saved you. And he like just kills the guy.
It seems like from everybody that I know that's been playing it a lot, the best part of this game is the orcs that have like really specific personalities and how they wind up sort of creating a story for you.
Yeah, there's some
Out of, like,
really
the
good
3
shit.
hours. The 3 hours I played, my favorite part was when the Bard Orc came in, and he was like, "I'm Bard Orc," and he's like, "Ding, ding, 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 ding."
Yeah. I encountered
I,
several poet orcs. I have a guy whose like story was, well, I was raised by a necromancer and I can't die, and he keeps coming back with better and better masks. And he's like, didn't I tell you I was the better of a necromancer? Blah blah blah. I've tried killing him in various ways. He keeps coming back, and he was great. And the Australian orc that kind of teaches you Fortress Assault is great. And there's a lot of really good personalities in there.
There's
That
one
is
that I
fun.
got, and I first off, everyone who's watching the playthrough knows that fucking Maku. I hate that guy. He's obviously my nemesis. He's been killed, chopped off. There's one guy. It's 2 orcs in one. They are 2 faces like combined together.
Yeah.
And they're like the twins. That's cool. But then one guy finally showed up, and I don't remember his name at all, but he was like something the mouth or something the talker. And literally his
Yeah, I
intro
think
was
you said it was the loudmouth.
yeah, it was like a minute long. Like he just kept talking, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god, this is great." He just kept going. He's like, and then quizzically, I'm gonna fight you over there. And you think you're gonna, and he just kept going.
I was like,
He's
oh
"Can I
gosh,
say
shut.
it? Too much."
You can't
Can I
skip
get-
those either. Like, I wish you could just, in the
great.
middle
It
of his
was really
speech, just go and hit him. If you encounter several orcs at once that you haven't met before, that could be a nightmare because they chain their opening speeches together. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, come on. I just want to kill some of you arseholes. There was one who inexplicably, for no reason, kept saying, it's time. Just over and over again in the middle of combat. Every time I hit him, he's like, it's time. And, it's time for what? What are you talking about?
Apparently, what were you saying, Dodger? Sam mind controlled an
Oh
orc.
my god, it was so sad. There was an orc that he like forcibly mind controlled, but it went badly. So he was on Sam's team, but Sam basically broke his brain. So when there would be introductions, if he was like pit fighting and there would be introductions, the one orc would come out and be like, I'm gonna fuck up your face. I'm so excited to do this fight. And then it would go over to Sam's orc and he would go, like he couldn't talk.
Wow.
Sam gave me the headphones so I could hear it. It was so sad. I was like, let that orc leave.
Let him retire.
He just all he can do is go.
That it literally is the best part. Like there's some amazing personality shit that happens in it, but you're completely right, Jesse. Like it's a great system couched in a mediocre at best, bloated as hell open world game. It's got tower climbing, it's got collectibles up the wazoo. It's like, oh, it's everything we've been complaining about for years about open world games. And some people have forgotten that because the Nemesis system generates some really cool moments. Yeah, but the problem is when it's not doing that, the rest of the game is abundantly obvious that it is the same open world shit we've been playing for years.
Yep. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't having fun. I just know the fun I'm having is based off of the random nonsense and not the actual game that I'm playing.
And that's going to vary from person to person. Some people are going to have great shit go on and some people aren't. I'm in the middle of Act 2 and I'm basically bored. Like, at this point, I've reached the point where, like, yeah, you know what? I don't really want to play any more of this. You know, I can't do more of this fucking combat. The Fortress Assault is quite clearly not very interesting. The Fortress Defense is basically you just buying extra defenses that are all clear upgrades. Like, there's no, like, you don't get to design anything, or, you know, the assaults aren't, they're just capture 2 points, then fight the Overlord. That's basically all they all are. So I'm like, well, oh dear. I had hoped they would do more with it and to improve the actual game, but they obviously put all their focus on, people love the Nemesis system, let's pour more into that. And you're right, but the rest of it isn't really up there for me. It's not interesting enough to keep doing it.
And then I was bored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. I don't know if anyone else has any other opinions on Shadow of War, but that's how I feel about it right now. That once the initial shine and the, oh, I love the Nemesis system thing has passed, you realize the individual components of this game are not very well fleshed out at all. And they're very, very similar to the original.
Yeah, and then there's sometimes I have graphical problems. Thankfully,
Yeah,
it doesn't
not that.
translate too well on YouTube because YouTube sometimes has its own issues. But like, I have graphical issues that remind me of Assassin's Creed Unity, where like it goes
really
from
that bad?
super high quality to suddenly like low res all of a sudden. You're like, what? Why?
Some
Why'd
of
that happen?
texture streaming issues. I haven't had anything that bad, although cutscenes I had issues where in the middle of a cutscene it would flick to like the menu and then back again, which was strange. The keyboard breaks every once in a while. The mouse seems to break every once in a while. There's some strange stuff going on with that. Yeah, I don't really know. It doesn't run amazingly well, considering that it doesn't look that great either. You know, it looks very similar to the original.
Yeah.
How did it? And as to how it reviewed, so well, it's a AAA game. You know how they get with things like this. So it's like if it's from a AAA studio, they're gonna give it an 8 as a minimum. I think it's a very, very average game with a very cool system that I wish was in another game.
Yeah.
I honestly, of all the things people steal from games to put in their games, God, would I love more games to have the Nemesis system. I love that aspect of it, and I think it would make a lot of other games really cool. I also, think that it's the only thing keeping this game afloat. But
Oh yes, if it didn't have that, it would rightfully be criticized as another fucking open world game that has no respect for its source material, that is highly repetitive and packed full of open worldy bullshit, which it is. It's just chocked full of them. So much. So I don't know. I'd love to see it in a superhero game. I've said it before. Design your own superhero, go into a city, sort of earn your reputation, and get like progressively more powerful nemesis. I mean, hell, WB could do it because they have the DC license. And eventually, maybe you attract the attention of like, a major DC villain. So I'd
cool villains. You have like Bombhead McGee, and then his bomb head keeps getting bigger every time you see him. And then
Yeah,
it's just like a super
sure.
bomb.
I'd
that's
play
like
the shit out of that.
super idea. That's like a super good idea. Seriously, like
Yeah.
a superhero version of it, where it's like you're the superhero and you have these nemesis that you fight, and you have to start off like small time, where you're like,
Yes.
yeah, I'm just starting off, and I
Making
don't
my
know
name
how
for
to really be a
myself.
superhero. And you have your nemesis are just as shitty as you are, but by the end, Professor Bombhead is like, welcome
Yeah.
to
I
my
own the city!
Yes, that'd be amazing. That'd be such a cool game. Absolutely.
Like Mega Man.
Sometimes the
did.
nemesis are actual villains, but sometimes they're other heroes. who
Yes.
just hate you.
Yeah, or you could do
And
that,
just
be
raw
you know?
people.
So it would be great, because you can include both the famous characters from DC, the like D-level stuff, but then completely new stuff. It just creates an engine basically for creating new DC villains and heroes out of basically nothing would be fucking phenomenal. Although you then go back to the whole, does it end up being another fucking Arkham game? Hopefully not.
So
But
then you have like all those, then you have just normal people. So you have like old man with a stick, and he just trips people walking down the street. So he's kind of a villain, but not really. And then his stick just like keeps growing. And he's like, I got a big stick. And his stick gets so big that he can't even like.
Oh,
contain
yeah,
it
but no, he
anymore.
has
And
to-
then the
yeah, but he
stick
has to be,
becomes
like-
the villain.
Oh shit.
shit.
Yeah. Because
I feel like I'm in a Cox and Crendor episode right now.
I'm just saying this would be cool.
Yeah.
And then because he has to have a catchphrase. He's like, speak softly, but carry a big stick. And then it grows.
Yeah. I mean, who's to say you have to be the hero? Maybe it comes down to how you act and you become the hero or the villain.
Yeah.
That would be cool too. There's
And the
all
stick's
sorts of
mind
things you can do with
controlling
that.
him.
There you go.
And then it becomes.
I'll play the hell out of that game.
I would love for that to be a game. That's such a good idea. Seriously.
That's why
That's
it's
a
never
good
getting
idea.
made. Oh well. Yeah, so that's I think our opinion on Shadow of War. Like a lot of us are hitting the wall of it being a bit of Snordor.
Haha.
Ah, Shadow of Boar.
Speaking
Dumb.
of
Sorry, go ahead.
speaking of
I'm done.
like
I'm
open
done
world
here.
stuff. Has anybody other than Jesse played Evil Within 2?
I haven't touched it.
Mm-mm. I never
Jesse,
played
what
it
are your-
because the first one I didn't
What are
like.
your opinions on it?
So yeah, the first Evil Within I dislike immensely, but that's because the difficulty spike was like
What?
Well,
I'm
there
sorry.
were also things that were completely unsolvable for you guys.
Rewind for a second. The difficulty spike was.
like that.
Okay.
You missed the visual.
Good. All right. Just checking. Great. Excellent.
So yeah, I wasn't a fan of the first one. There's definitely one area where we just could not get through it to save our lives. And on further inspection, the solution was one that we were like, I don't think we'd ever have come up with, which to us was like, what the fuck? This is like the third area in the game.
Right.
Fast forward to the new one, and our dear work colleague, Alex Fossiani, who loved the first game, was like, yo, new one's coming out. I was like, dude, I would gladly play it with you if, you take the reins and like, we can stream this shit and like, I'll see what this game's about. The new one, even though the first game was very much like a corridor, avoid monsters, but you're still like pathed along something.
Yeah.
This one has those moments, but for the most part, you're now in an open world town, and there are monsters everywhere that try to get you, and you can sneak around and like kill them and stuff. There are little side quests and missions you can accept and go to that you find on your radio that lead you to weird shit. But it feels different. There's a lot of mechanics of horror games that are unexpected. So I don't even know how to explain the plot of this game. Imagine everything you knew in the first game and then it being like, hey, yeah, all that bad shit, we got to do it again. And it's like, why? Why is this happening?
Right.
But you're doing it for your kid, I guess, is why. So the way this one works is there are moments of like crazy shit horror happening in between this open world area, and you can go into houses and you can explore things, and each time there is something that, like, as you search around, you might find a monster, you might find a new encounter, or you might find a secret or something to help you get through the story. One of the cool things that I liked is it isn't just in those areas. After you do that, you unlock the monster. And so a really great example is we went to one house, and in the house, it was like really creepy, and we found this notebook, and the notebook was like, there's someone in here, and it's going to get me, and I don't know, oh God, what is this? And then after we put it down, the whole room starts to freeze over, and everything gets like really creepy and weird, and we go outside into like this hallway, and this ghost woman appears, and she like hunts you down, right? And so we try to avoid her. We sneak around, and we eventually get out, and the ghost woman's like, well, I'm gone now. Okay. That's like an encounter in the house. Fast forward to later, we're outside, just outside, and the world freezes over, and she just appears. And it's like, what? And so we had to outrun her, and when we did, we got away. Everything was fine. But she kept reappearing over and over and over again. One time we were in a house, the door locked, and I don't know if this was scripted or if this was a bug, but it was cool as shit. So we were in a house. It was like a shed. We're searching for shit. The door behind us locks. Everything freezes over. There is no way to leave this room. And we're like, this is bullshit. She can walk through walls. She's just going to kill us. And the door starts shaking violently. And then nothing happens. The freezing stops. And we're like, what? Huh. So there's a lot of like interesting little things they've included. The main story is bonkers. It's about this guy in this. So, God, how do you even explain this fucking franchise?
I don't know, but you better start trying, because I have no idea what is going on here. Even so, watching your footage, I have no idea what's going on.
And even within 2, it takes place in a thing called STEM. STEM is this neural matrixy world where a person, they use their brain to like control this fake world. And the objective, I think, is they want to move everyone in society over to this world. Why? I still don't have a fucking clue why they want to do that. But much like the first one, something terrible goes wrong. Why they would build it a second time, I don't fucking know. Something terrible goes wrong, and there is someone in the reality who not only has control over it, but is a psycho killer. And so this time, it's a guy who likes photographs. And so what he does is when he kills people, he slows time. And then at their moment of death, they keep living it in slow motion, repeating it over and over and over again. And then he sets up cameras around them to take photos of it. And so like you constantly encounter rooms where like a dude slowly getting shot in the head, and as he like slowly goes back, his brain's like explode out the back, and then he like comes back together, and then it does it again, and he comes back together and does it. It's bizarre. It's weird. And then of course, because it's controlled by this man, or maybe not. I don't know. There's another layer here, obviously, but because it's controlled by someone, monsters are attacking you that are made up of like what people have created in their it's bizarre. It's genuinely
the stem is constructed from people's like memories.
It's very
right?
intelligent. You'd have to watch Rick and Morty to really get it.
To be fair, you do require a very high IQ to understand
really
Evil
high
Within.
IQ to truly understand Evil Within.
Yeah, it's a weird thing where like you go into a tub and you enter this world because like the Matrix, you like jack in, and then when you're inside, your memories help construct this world, but the main brain is the one who like stabilizes it and makes everything work and run. And then all the memories together construct this reality. And so they've created a town in this reality and they're trying to grow it. And so you even find like an area in the game where like they have a map of like where they plan to add new locations and add stuff. So there are people like employees who work for this company. They're like, yeah, we're building this virtual reality where people can live. And it's interesting. There's a lot there, but it's still nonsense. Like it's nonsense, but it's interesting. It's interesting nonsense.
Yep.
And
I still have no idea what that is.
Yeah. It is a genuinely intriguing horror game that I don't feel. It's not scary. There are a few moments where it's terrifying, but it's not scary. It's more like, what the fuck? And you keep wanting to like push to see more, which I think I didn't have with the first one, which was like bashing your head against a wall.
The first one looked way more uncomfortable to me, if that makes sense. Like watching footage, I remember watching footage of Evil Within 1 and being like, this looks like it's really uncomfortable to play. And watching Evil Within 2, it seems more Silent Hill, Resident Evil 4-ish in terms of how
Resident Evil 4 is exactly the way to put it. That's how it feels. Yeah. It definitely is a interesting, like, as you progress in the story, more weird and horrible monsters appear in the open world. And so you are sort of leveling up as you play. You get access to new weapons and new guns. It does have the crafting thing where it's like, you found an herb. If you combine an herb with this, you can make stuff to heal yourself. Very Resident Evil-y.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's
It's
a lot more than the first one. So
I think they learned a lot. I definitely do. But we'll see as the game progresses if that means it's any good. It could be real shit by the end of it. Because, again, the main story is bonkers. I can't figure it out. I can't piece it together in my brain why things are happening in this game are happening. I don't know.
right.
That sounds like a game I won't play.
Yep.
Yeah. Same.
That's definitely on the list of things I have no interest in.
That's why people like Jesse and
That's
that
why
whole
we can
crew
watch them
exist.
play it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Doing
so
a
they can
good
play it and I
service.
can watch the first episode and be like, nope.
Pretty much.
Well, it's 5 hours of Alex and I playing. So if you want to see 5 hours of the game where we're just like, fuck.
But there won't be a Davis to scream and make me feel like I always know when I watch Scary Game Squad that I'm Davis.
Well, some people decided to spend this week in like Cabo or some shit. No names. No names. I don't know why. I guess he runs a drug cartel now. I have no clue.
I mean, YouTube ad revenue is at an all-time low, so, you know, you got to get a side gig
Might as well go
somewhere.
to Cabo.
We played
Yeah.
some of the scariest games when I was on Scary Game Squad a few
Oh
weeks
my
ago.
god.
Some of the scariest games I've
Look, if
ever
we're
played
gonna
in my life.
shamelessly shill, Crendor came on Scary Game Squad and we gave him $5 and said buy games, and he picked 3 of literally the worst games I've ever played.
Well, you gave him $5. What the fuck did you expect to happen?
They can't be. They were better than Evil Within. All right.
The original,
He
possibly.
picked one game where there was an Utsluku meter,
A
and
what?
Yeah.
Eventually, music came on, and we thought we were being chased, but nothing was chasing us. And then at the end, the screen goes black, and like words that are not English appeared, and that's it. There was nothing killed us. Nothing
Imagine playing
happened. We were
Five
just
Nights
like,
at Freddy's, but at the end of it, instead of something jump scaring you, a black screen just appears, and it's like, you lost.
Cool.
Oh my god, then the midget game. There's a game where this is midgets,
dear.
right? He said, quote, midgets have taken over a hospital, all right? And they're taking pregnant women and like taking the babies and like using their energy or some shit. And every time you die, it shows midgets. And like they're like,
or like the main character is a woman who's naked, a naked woman who rummaging around a house. And then on the Steam page for this game, the creator, because people were like, midget's offensive, dude. And the creator was like, well, when I was young, I remember watching a movie, and in this movie, the villains were midgets. We were like,
he's like, it's a medieval fantasy term. And it's
God.
It was the best. It was like, use your
incredible.
flashlight to get rid of the midgets and shit like that. It's so
Please
Midget
stop.
paint light. It was so offensive. We were just like,
that's so good. And then we played a game where you go fight. Actually, you don't even fight the bear. It's you just gotta like go into the forest and like avoid the bear.
it is literally Slender Man, but instead of Slender Man, it's a bear. And you have a gun, but the gun can only scare away the bear. You can't kill the bear.
Yeah, and you
And
have
then
one
eventually, after 6 shots, the bear just finds and kills you.
There are so many good games right now, and you chose to play that shit.
I know that
so-
midget one was pretty good. And then it had the worst. You know how it does like skill checks on like Dead by Daylight and stuff? Where it's
Oh
like
my
you're doing
God.
it, like goes bloop, and you got to hit it right at the right time.
Sure.
This game had the worst skill check ever created in a video game ever. It was like even if you were, it was like playing with 500 FPS or something.
I stopped the actual flow of the gameplay to sit at a skill check and try it repeatedly because I was like, I'm gonna get this for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Couldn't get one.
Everyone was like, Crendor, you're so bad at these skill checks. And I was like, you do it. And then he was like, what the shit is wrong with this skill?
It's
It was
not
so
working
bad.
at all. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just terrible.
And
I
then we
cannot
looked up a
imagine a
walkthrough.
reason to waste time in any of these, but sure, go
Oh,
ahead.
it was terrible. Yeah, we looked up a walkthrough. The walkthrough was like, all right, so imagine a room where there's 15 things to check, but only one of them has something in it. And every time you check something, there's a chance the bad guys, I'm not going to say it, the bad guys will show up and kill you. So that's room 1. That's room 1.
Yeah, and you can't
It
even
was-
move with the flashlight to get rid of them. You just
And then
you have to
eventually-
stand there and be like, dit.
Eventually, we did get to move with the flashlight. They killed us, and then we came back alive, and we broke the
Oh, that
game.
was glitched out, so we got to
Yeah.
move.
Cheers.
Great games.
Yeah,
Those are
great
some scary games if you want to check them out.
Can we talk about a Precious game?
I don't know
Oh,
what
Doki
that
Doki
means,
Literature Club?
but
No.
sure.
Can we talk about Hat in Time?
Oh,
Yeah,
Hat Time's
Hat Time.
wonderful.
It's so
Love Hat in
precious.
Time.
It's so charming.
It is. It's
We
got
talked
very
about it
good
a little
writing.
bit last week, but I've finished it now, and Crendor said he's played it.
Bit more
too.
volume, Dodger. For some reason, I don't know what happened, but your
Even
mic
more?
just
I upped my gain a ton.
yeah, your mic went off a cliff like after the sound check for some reason. I don't know why. So, there, bit close to the face. That'll probably help.
Hello?
There. Okay.
Hi?
All right, go for it.
Hello?
This will be fine. Hopefully.
Crendor, what do you think about Hat in Time?
So everyone was like, you love the platformer games, Crendor. You got to play Hat in Time. So I was like, all right, I'll play Hat in Time. So the first level I thought was okay. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like
The
this that
Mafia
much.
Town?
Yeah, the Mafia Town. And then after Mafia Town, I really got invested because I was like, all right, it's got good writing. It's got some good little puzzles. It's got good characters and stuff. And that's when I was like, this is great. Like the film level with
I
the
loved all of
film
the
level
film
was the
levels,
best level.
yeah.
That hooked me in, and I was like, all right. Like to me, I felt the gameplay was similar to ukulele. A lot of people were like, it's just bad. I was like, no, it feels about the same as ukulele, but I think the writing was better than ukulele. I think
That
it
wouldn't
had
take
more.
much.
Really witty.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, it had more of the old school, rare humor than I
Mhm.
think ukulele did. So I feel like that's what was missing out in ukulele so much. So that's why
Also,
I really enjoyed that.
this game was on Greenlight 2-3 years ago. I remember
Yeah.
playing the
Kickstarted.
original super alpha version of this game, and in that time, you can tell that they spent a lot of time on this one versus like Ukulele, which they were like, let's make this shit go. Let's get it out. And you can feel the difference. You can feel the difference between like people who really genuine. Like, I don't doubt that Ukulele, like the team cared, but like these people were like, we have to make this awesome.
Yeah.
What I don't mind about all this like happening, like the platformer thing, is they're kind of reviving platformers. So now it's not as bad. And like even the AAA people might be like, hey, we made platformers again. Kids want platformers now. And they just
it was really fun, really charming. I feel like it's also super accessible, and I appreciate that that they made it so you can turn the camera assist off. That was nice. Even though there were still some levels where I'd go in and I couldn't move the camera. I was like, dang it. But that was rare. That was a rare situation. For the most part, turning off camera assist, I was able to put the camera wherever I wanted, which was nice. Yeah, the only thing that I would say is the horror level or the like spoopy level is not for kids, man. That area is not for kids. Like,
there's like people hanging.
Mhm.
Yeah, the people hanging and shit.
Yeah.
And then the rope's just like, I want to wrap around your neck.
Yeah, and the mansion area with the woman who's like,
Yeah.
I just want to put my boyfriend in a cage and leave him in the basement forever. Can I do that? I love him so much. You're just like, but again, I guess like Rare games also had a lot of adult humor but normally it wouldn't.
It's like
it was the
subtle
sort of
adult humor
where like the kids wouldn't tell. Yeah.
It's kind of it's like that where you when you're a kid you wouldn't even realize it, like in a lot of cartoons where they did it and then you think back and you're like, oh, that was a thing. But it's still really good.
I loved that area. I just think that if I was a parent and I bought this game for my kid saying like, oh, it's a cute little game, every level aside from that one, I'd be like, this is so precious. And then they would play that one and I'd be like, what the shit? Like, I do not want my kid playing this. They're going to be so freaked out. Literally the protagonist and the antagonist are like kids. So I think most parents would be like, oh, this is a game that kids can play. It looks really cute. It's a little platformer. I played platformers when I was a kid, right? Like,
that's what I thought too. I was like, is this more of a kids thing? Like, and then I started playing. I was like, oh, that's not a kid's joke.
Good.
That's
yeah.
And then there was like my favorite part of the train levels when you talk to the crow people and they're just like they ask you all the secret questions, you know. They're like, what is your mother's uncle's maiden name? Like,
they're like totally trying to like steal your identity.
They're like, hello, if you were to give us the name of your pet you first had, what would that pet's name be?
Yeah, just out of curiosity. Isn't it great? All of us owls hanging out on this train, and all the owls are like, why are there crows everywhere? Like, nobody's convinced that they're owls.
Like they ask those things, and then like
you input like answers, whether or not they're like real, right? You input answers, and then they'll mention that shit for the rest of the level. Like one of the questions is, you know, everybody's embarrassed about something having to do with their body. Is there a body part you're embarrassed about? And I put in uvula just to be funny. But literally, there were so many times in that level where you'd overhear crows talking to each other, and one of them would be like, "Did you see that little girl's uvula? It was disgusting." And they'd all be like, "Ha ha ha ha!" And I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, I put body, and they're like, "Can you believe she's ashamed about her body?" Ha 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 ha. It's great.
Yeah.
Well then.
I also I think I mentioned this last time, but I loved making my passport picture.
Yes.
You did mention it last time.
When I had to get a bird passport, I loved drawing on my passport picture. There are lots of really cute little things.
I think my favorite things are like the splash screens, like in between loading times. Like those are always really good. Like they're really good. And then the soundtrack. The soundtracks, like especially on the what do you call it? Like the time warp levels. I love that soundtrack. It's like kind of Mario Water World soundtrack-ish. It's like bloop.
It totally is. Yeah, some of those are pretty easy and some of those are really difficult.
Yeah, they start getting more difficult as you keep going. So at first I was like, all right, it's not bad. And then I was like, there we go, and just keep dying now.
But yeah, I think overall that game was a super success in terms of what it wants to do. So
Yeah.
I'm really glad for them.
And I want more platformers. I love me platformers.
Yeah.
I love me platformers.
I love me platformers. Hopefully they'll make more.
Yeah. Maybe they'll actually make Banjo-Kazooie 3. Maybe Microsoft will be like, hey guys, this is getting a little popular. Maybe
There's a thing that's not going to happen, but hey.
we're gonna do it.
Crendor has faith.
Yeah.
One day.
Donkey Kong X1 for
Oh
Xbox,
my God, a new
Xbox
Donkey
One
Kong
X.
game? That would
Donkey
blow my
Kong
mind,
X1 X. Get ready. It's gonna happen. I guess it would be a Nintendo Switch one. Donkey Kong Switch.
It would.
Actually, they'll probably make a Donkey Kong Switch, and it won't be a platformer. It'll just be a Donkey Kong game.
There's so many Donkey Kong characters, and they keep marketing the Switch as being like a multiplayer thing.
Yeah.
It'll be some kind of a multiplayer game if they did a Donkey Kong game.
I just want my Animal Crossing. I just want Switch Animal Crossing. That's all I want.
Didn't they
I'm sure
confirm
that'll
something
happen.
for that, or maybe that was just people's wishful thinking the last time there was a direct?
They've said there's going to be a mobile game, Animal Crossing, which I'll still
lovely.
play, and I'll probably buy their DLC. But
God, they'll monetize the shit out of that. That'll be horrible.
I just want the Switch one. The Switch one's all I want. It's gonna be made. It's been like years
Animal
since
Crossing
I-
makes so much money. I would be shocked if they weren't planning on making
Yeah.
an Animal Crossing for Switch.
I think that the thing is with Nintendo is you don't know what's they'll just randomly pop up like, here's an event we're doing in 2 days, and you're like, oh, okay, and then they're like, here's new shit, and you're like, oh, neat. That's Nintendo, and I like that actually. Instead of being like, we've waited all year for E3, and welcome back to Star Wars Battlefront 2. I just eat. Thanks, Tom.
Is that your I Justine voice? Thanks, Tom.
Good. That was
Thanks,
actually
Tom. I'm
hilarious.
down here on the floor, and
Nailed
I
it.
love Star Wars Battlefront. Teleprompter went out. That's E3, essentially, in a nutshell. I love money, and my name's EA Vampire Lord. I look like a vampire. He looks like a vampire, dude. If you watch him, he like comes out, he's like pale with like, and he's like, hello, and he's got like slight fangs coming out, and he's like, we love Madden.
What? The fuck are you even talking about?
I don't even know who you're talking about, but I'm.
Where did we get? We were on hand time for a second. What the hell are you even talking about?
Because we started talking about like other platformers that people might wind up making.
Okay.
And
So the fuck's EA got to do with any of it?
Because I don't know how I got here.
No, no, you don't.
Because Crendor appreciates the Nintendo Directs.
Yeah, that's what
and
it was.
was saying
Direct.
that
The EA ones
having
are
to wait for EA to
Well,
do their shit
yeah.
is always a shit show.
Of course it is. Especially when it's like, we're just gonna, our solution to marketing is just to buy all the YouTubers who will then defend us when we do stupid shit.
Yo, that was like,
I hate
that.
too.
If you want to know what worries me about them going like, we want to follow market trends, that's what worries me. EA saw everyone like, yes, we use YouTubers as influencers to get people to buy our products. So they're like, okay, cool. Our entire press conference at E3 this year is going to be 35 minutes of you watching YouTubers and streamers play our game.
They picked
And say
vlogging
how much they love our
YouTubers
stuff.
at that.
Actually do that
Yeah,
well.
I know.
Vlogging YouTube. So they're like, and here's your favorite gaming YouTuber, Jesse Wellens. And he's like,
Guy
"Yo,
who doesn't
guys,
do games at all.
I love Need Speed. 2."
Yeah.
They literally were like, this is what the kids will love. And I think they forgot, like, no one gives a fuck about, like, even I wouldn't want to see myself on there. I want to see your
No.
fucking games, you dummies. I
Yeah.
want to see what games
It's a
you
bad
have.
way to demonstrate
It's
anything.
like new distraction tactics always. And I'm like,
Yeah.
just show us the game and we'll be like, they showed us games. They just straight up
That's
showed us
good.
games.
Yeah.
Delighted.
That's what E3 is about. I don't give a fuck about any influencers or any celebrities or anyone. Show us your goddamn games.
Well, the problem is
Oh.
when they show you your game, they're like, here's raw gameplay of Battlefront 2. And I'm like, oh, this is the same game. It's the same as the first one. It's just Battlefield. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm going to turn off this. And they're like, all right, guys, we can't show them the game. We got to just, dance around it. Come on.
Nah. Yeah.
The old bait and switch.
But Battle on Naboo, though, guys, right? Battle on Naboo, one of the most epic fights in the history of Star Wars. Glad we got to watch.
Not the one they should have demoed. No.
Should have been the Jar Jar Binks.
No.
The field, not Naboo, but the field outside.
And you have to play as like Jar Jar as one of the heroes, and he like throws shit when it hits your own team. He like throws it backwards. He's like, "Oh no!"
Your ability is you step on a droid, and then you have to like move your foot around, and the droid like kills people for you.
The only thing I like about that is you get to reenact your fantasy of throwing Jar Jar off a cliff repeatedly.
Everyone. So somewhere at the EA offices, there's a guy like, "Sir, everyone who gets the Jar Jar add-on
Immediately kills themselves.
I don't know why. Statistically, everyone has jumped off a cliff, sir.
We just can't figure it out. He must be overpowered, and people are doing the honorable thing.
Sith.
Yeah, so I've seen the theory. If Lucas were remotely competent, I might have believed that, but I don't. Not for a second. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about the games we've been playing this week. Try and not mute my microphone for like 4 minutes straight. That might be good.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I was trying to be nice. Look, I got Sour Patch Kids 2 for 1. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to have some Sour Patch Kids, and I'm going to mute the mic just to be like, you know what? I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to crinkle this, and I'm going to, look, I'm going to get a handful of these bloody things. Look at this. Look, there's like 5 of them. Oh my God, my tongue. Oh, fuck. I'll be right back. Fucking bollocks. Who's Tower? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Co-optional Podcast. Hopefully you enjoyed the wonderful sounds of the determination over Undertale. In fact, not Overtale. Overtale is the sequel that we'll never see. Undertale remix album, yes. That Overtale.
We've been talking about slow cookers.
Yeah, we were talking about crock-pot.
They're amazing. They're amazing.
So I just made some pulled pork in mine. It's been slow cooking 10 hours. Went and tasted it. It's a spicy meatball.
You can't really make bad food in a slow cooker. You just toss most things in, and eventually it'll probably be good just through virtue of having heated it for a long time. It's great.
So good.
Yeah.
I love it. You make chili, you can make pork, you can make whatever you want.
You can make a cake.
Good.
I have a thing that's like, I have a America's Test Kitchen book of, here's stuff you can make in a slow cooker that you didn't know you can make in a slow cooker. And one of them is just a cake. It's a big
Shout out
cake.
to America's Test
Kitchen. Wah, wah, wah.
Shout out to America's Test
professional YouTubers.
At least
Sorry, I just...
When you flub up a word in the middle of a joke, it feels like your spirit is literally
It is the
crushed.
worst, isn't it?
Yeah, if you rewind, a little me goes like,
yeah,
it's gone. You watched it leave.
It is
I've been
forever.
replaced with a demon now. A demon has taken my body.
Was it EA by any chance?
No.
No.
You would know. I'd be like, let me tell you about my interview
Current
with
market
Pele.
trends.
Yeah, let me tell you about
Dude,
the current market trend.
Listen, when we went to E3 and there was Pele there, that was probably the best EA moment they've ever had.
Yeah, for us at least. We were so excited. Everyone else was like, we were just in the front row like, oh!
My favorite part of that was still the corporate people when they were like, and now Minions Mobile. And there was just a group of corporate people like, yes, Minions Mobile.
I bet my mom played it.
Can we get the ROI on that, Johnson? ROI, please.
Projections, please. Corporate synergy.
Give me the SEO on the ROI.
At
TPS
least
reports.
8%. It has to be at least 8%.
Bloomberg is reporting minions everywhere. Very profitable form of cancer. That just spreading everywhere.
Minions mobile game tutorial was way too hard for me. I couldn't get past it.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was very exclusionary myself.
Yeah, the way it
difficult.
told me to hit A to jump, and I had to. It just wasn't. I
Yeah,
didn't get
it wasn't clear as to what exactly it wanted from me.
Yeah.
I don't want to reignite the difficulty thing again. I don't. It's just like it's every now and again a little article will pop up and it's like, oh please, no.
We've done it.
Can I mention a non-difficulty thing with Cuphead? It's more of like the speedrunner people.
Sure, yeah, why not?
So the blaster thing I realized is OP as shit.
What is the
like-
blaster? What do you
So-
mean by
The
that?
charge weapon?
Charge weapon, yeah.
Oh
You're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
this is
That's like the best weapon in the
Like-
game. Most people have said.
Yeah,
That's not
like
what
there
the
were.
though.
Well, is it? Or what do they use?
They They use the boomerang one and the like lobbing purple one, and they rapidly swap between them.
Oh.
Which is like really weird because you actually like get stuff out faster and do more damage. It's crazy to watch some of those Cuphead speedrunners because they just like you can see in the corner they're like constantly switching weapons over and over again.
Damn. All right. Well, I'm wrong then. Either way,
Most people
whenever
use the charge weapon though.
yeah, well,
Charge was
weapon,
good.
Yeah, like when I fought the devil at the end, I was like, all right, this is taking forever. And then I used the charge weapon. I'm like, oh, it's like a fourth of the time he's gone. All right, just move on.
Oh yeah, you
Like it just
beat
speeds
their ass.
everything up.
Mm.
Yeah. So I was like, all right. I
Yo,
also
the
beat it before Dodger, and everyone was like, you beat before Dodger. So I got the trophy now.
Yeah.
Didn't we come up with the fact that the ending was the Crendor ending? Like in order to beat it really easily?
I chose that one. They're like, hey, do you want to hand over the souls? I was like, yeah, sure. And he's like, hey, you win. You're my Darth Vader now. And I'm like, oh, sweet, dude.
Yeah, Jesse was like, wait, I don't want to say yes. And I was like, if you say yes, we could just go back. He was like, oh, never mind. Okay.
Oh, I was referring to the fact that the entire time we played, Crendor only used the multi-shot. And when we got to the final boss, we were like, what if we just use the multi-shot? And I was like, don't tell Crendor it was way easier. Like, don't let him know that we
shotgun with those final stages on the devil. It made it so much easier. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
This shotgun has been useless the whole game.
Yeah, and at the very end, it was like the most useful effing thing. And we were like, do not tell Crendor that his strategy finally paid off. No one let him know.
I have the deep strats.
He really does.
I really fucked myself up because I was trying to overthink that last phase of the devil. So I got to the last phase so many times and was like, what am I supposed to do with these tears?
Oh my god, when I turned into you, the years apart, where the devil comes out and it's like
yeah,
and it comes out of the side, you kept like dodging under it, and I was like, all you have to do is or no, it was when the hands went blap.
It's the hands.
You kept jumping, and I was like, all you gotta do is duck down. All you gotta do is duck down.
I don't let my chat help, so
yeah, but like I was like, oh, all you gotta do is duck down. Like I guess I accidentally ducked down and realized.
Yeah, fuck you, Crendor. It was an accident. You figured it out by accident.
All I'm saying is the way you did it is wrong.
I found out in the end after I had but yeah.
Yeah.
Ultimate strats.
And then I got to pass that on to Jesse. I got to be Jesse's backseat.
I tilted so many people with the dice guy because it glitched out for me. So I got past the dice boss because when it got to the final part where you have to like do the boing boing and like keep jumping, I did it like once and then his hand just kept being like, and he never did it again. And I was like, oh man, what's the next phase gonna be? What's the next phase gonna be? And then I was like, what? It's not coming. And then he just died.
Do you remember, Crendor, when we played in that escalator elevator down where if you made it and I didn't, it wouldn't go down?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing happened on the devil fight. I edited out of the video because I was like, I don't want people to see the numerous times this happened.
Mm-hmm.
But if Dodger was dead and I was alive and I went to go jump in the hole, it would just keep me in the hole and the flames would come across the screen and end. And it was like, what? So we both had to move on. It was like a super bug. I was like, what?
Yeah, it was weird.
There's another bug if you're on the one dice boss guy. Like if you keep going through all the little bosses, one of the bosses is the monkey man, where you had to match shit in the background, and he's like, burp, burp, and I matched one, and he flew off the screen and died.
Yes, we did that. It happened to us too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
remember?
So good.
Us once.
Yeah, he just apparently it's a huge bug that everyone's aware of, I guess, when they made the game. So
yeah,
cool.
There's a lot of those types of bugs. Like I noticed when I tried expert, I couldn't keep doing expert because I kept running into weird bug things. Like I was trying to blast or shot the one guy and it just kept hitting nothing. And I was like, there's nothing. There's nothing there. And it was just driving me insane. I'm like, I can't even use my strategy I'm trying to do because it's blocked by nothing.
I would have loved to see you lose your mind because that would have been like just gibberish. Some guy put together a compilation of all the noises you made when we played, and it literally is like, oh yeah, it's like gibberish.
It's like tongues.
It's like language. It's like you're speaking in tongues. Seriously, there's one part where you're like, and it's like, what?
Inza binza solo. Aja crispa guido.
That was the Empire Earth Prophet guy. He'd be like, Yakatopa.
Seriously, you just
Iwanawanga.
And then you'd be like, you gotta watch out for the Boombas. You know, the Boombas.
Boombas.
You just start making up words for things that have names.
Yeah, the cannonball, the pirate guy shoots cannonballs, call them baboombas, because it's like boom, and then like baboom, so it's like a baboomba.
Sure, both.
It has a name.
It has.
It doesn't help when you're like, watch out for the Boombas. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Listen, all I'm saying is,
Give him the pasta fajoule.
the pasta. It helps release the stress and the tension.
It does. That
the
game you need to
gives
release
you.
stress. That's what that's about.
Yeah, it's a great game. Very fun.
It is good. I liked that game a lot.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about Fractured Butthole?
Yo.
Sure.
It's gonna spoil it for me, so you can't talk about it.
Get effed.
I haven't been able to. So I'm playing it on PS4, and I don't know.
So am I.
Oh, I don't know if this happens on PC.
Console
but
game
like,
trash.
what?
What?
Huh?
I didn't say anything.
Continue, please.
What?
Continue.
It does the thing where it lets you play before the game is actually ready. So I started the game and I got to a certain point in the game where I needed to go to another part of town. And there's like a percentage. You can see like a percentage on every screen where it says like, oh, this game is 34% ready for you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I got to a certain point in the game, like pretty early on, and tried to go to another part of town. And this guy just like showed up and was like, hey kid, get the fuck out of here. The game isn't ready yet. I was like, what?
That's pretty neat. I mean, at least that's one better way than a lot of this whole preloading you can play before it's ready shit just flat out doesn't work most of the time. It's like, well, you can look at the menu, but that's all we're going to let you do. The fact that they actually acknowledged that was pretty cool.
I wasn't sure if so the first like block that you start in, I tried to leave and the coon shows up and is like, you've reached the edge of our known universe, turn back. And I was like, oh, maybe that means I still have stuff that I need to do in this neighborhood before I can move on. But I realized now it was
right.
only that block had been fully loaded.
No,
Yeah.
it's locked behind completing those missions. You have to do like that when the coon shows up and is like, don't go that way, or you can't go that way. Later on, I had the same thing, and I had the game installed for like 3 days.
Oh, okay.
So
I assumed because it's now doing that anytime I try to go anywhere, as well as the area where the guy's like, fucking go away, kid. The game isn't ready.
when you look in your mini map,
but I guess not.
Yeah, when you look at your mini map, you'll see things that are like feet that are crossed off. It's like you can't go that way right now. If you try and go that way, the coon will show up and be like, that's the edge of the known universe. You can't go that way. That's my Cartman. That's not even remotely close.
I know. I didn't even try.
Yeah. So, but what I think is great about this is that they didn't, even though they added the map and everything, they didn't try to change up the layout of South Park. Like if you played Stick of Truth, it's the exact same layout. You're like, except for things that have happened since then, season wise. There's a few new locations that are like, oh, okay, this is from last season.
Right. Yeah,
which is cool.
Yeah, we won't like spoil anything.
No spoils.
But I will say the combat system is way better, like light years better. It's so much more fun to play. They have like a knockback system now.
I think I chose poorly. Who did you pick?
Which class? Or
I'm sorry, what did you say, TB?
So it's more like a tactic system than the other one, which is more like a JRPG, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so which class did you pick?
Bruiser.
I was gonna pick Bruiser. So no spoils for the actual game, but when I was creating my character, I decided to pick this hairstyle that I thought was really funny looking. I didn't realize at the time that it had a rat tail on the back. So I made this joke about, I'm King Rat Tail. And then when you defeat a boss, right, I changed my name. And then I was like, oh, okay, well, I have to be the ranged character that uses fire because it goes with my character. Boy, do I wish I picked a Bruiser because it seems much easier. The ranged character, most of you, like one of the attacks, you fire 3 fireballs, but in order to get bonus damage, you have to hit X, like timed X, to like get bonus damage. I'm terrible at it. I'm genuinely very bad at it.
You have to do that as Bruiser too, because you
I suck.
Maybe he's bad at video
there
games.
you have like
I'm terrible.
everything that you do as a Bruiser is either a headbutt or a punch, and it's like every single one of those you wind up and it does the like hit X at just the right time thing. But I mean, either way, you still get the hit. It's just whether or not
Right.
you get
It's a bonus.
Gotta
Yeah.
get your hit.
I'm terrible at it. I'm terrible. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like I should have chosen Bruiser because the first two characters I got are also, well, one of them's ranged. I haven't seen the other one. And I was like, this makes my combat more difficult because it's all on a grid, TB. So it's all like on, it's a tactics game. It's all on a grid. And every character has abilities, and some of those abilities you need to be standing in certain places for them to activate. And so I assume a Bruiser, you want to get like up in front of them and like get up in their face. Well, when you play as my character, you want to stand like 2 or 3 squares back, and that's how you use abilities. And the problem is that when you're with another ranged character, especially since most of my abilities right now are in a straight line, it's hard because then the enemy just stands in. I like move to a straight line, and then I can't attack them with the other character because he has a straight line ability too. I'm like, you sons of bitches. So it's about like you then have to move them and turn them to face, and so it's about learning what you can and can't do. Absolutely, yeah.
Trying to position yourself in a good way for whatever abilities you have, and knowing the abilities of your teammates and stuff.
Sounds a hell of a lot more interesting than the first one's combat.
I honestly love every time I fight in this game so far. But again, I haven't been able to get super far in it because it walled me off. But I kind of appreciated that because it made me go back, because there are all kinds of side quests in these games, and there's all kinds of like little things that you can find. So since I couldn't progress, it made me go back and heavily inspect every single.
You had to play the Jesse way. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice. Yeah, once you play that way, you realize you're missing 90% of the game.
It's true.
You have to go back. You have to do. Plus, with this one, I overthought it. So in the last game, you had the ability to like knock things down, and in this one, I thought you already had that ability right away. So I was like, why doesn't it let me do it? And then I unlocked the quest where it's like, oh, now I can. Even though the mechanic existed, I wasn't able to until I did the quest. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I feel like a dummy. But now I know where everything is, so I have to go back and like get it all.
The one thing that is confusing is you start off with the game telling you, like, if you see something that's broken, you can punch it.
Right.
And either it'll disappear and then you can like move around it, or something will be inside, right? Because you pick up all kinds of fucking stupid items in this game.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a couple places right at the beginning where things are broken, but you can't break them with a punch. And it doesn't say anything like, hey, you need a super mega punch in order to break, it doesn't say anything. So I was like, am I doing it wrong? Do I need to stand in a different place? Do I like, what do I need to do? And I think I finally settled on.
Well, that's the same thing with the scan and the poppers, right? So you have the scan and then you have like the fart. And I was like, oh, if I like throw my fart at a thing, I can break it somehow or knock it down. And then I was like, no, that doesn't make any sense. So I was like, okay, what am I missing? And then when I got the poppers, I was like, oh, now I remember the game mechanic that came with this. So it comes back to eventually that a lot of the core mechanics are still kind of like the previous game, except they changed the fighting system. What I thought was really funny, and this is totally not a spoiler or anything, but it goes, Dodge and I were having a conversation about like Butters, and how Butters is just the best the other day. And we were laughing about the episode where he goes to the Christian camp. And we were like, what a sad episode. And when I went to Butters' house, the first thing I found was the brochure for that camp. And I was like, oh no. It was so good.
There's so many callbacks
to
episodes. It's so good. If you watch the show, like almost everything that you pick up that's useless is like a goof.
Yeah. And much like the first game, whenever you go around to someone's house or the TV's on or there's sound in the background, it's all the shitty ads and stuff they've ever included in South Park.
Yeah.
So the other one, God, what the hell is the name of the regentrified area?
Sopa.
Yeah, Sopa so like
Oh,
that was
yeah.
in there. And it was an ad for that, and I was just listening to it, cracking up. I was like, this game, it really is just created as like a, hey, you're a
Thanks
fan.
for watching the show.
Thanks
Yeah.
for watching. Yeah, which is cool.
Does that mean that someone who hasn't watched it in years, I'm not going to get as much out of it? I mean, does it still
You'll still
stand?
enjoy it, I think.
Yeah,
It's
it's not massively
they're-
referential, right?
The goofs are non-intrusive.
And more importantly, the main goof, the main conceit of the game is literally the idea of we are young kids and we like superhero movies, but we're trying to create superhero movies literally for the sole purpose of making money off the fact that superhero movies make money. And everyone fights over the idea of like, we're supposed to be famous because we're superheroes. Like if you saw the last episode, literally that's what it's about. It's about like Netflix will greenlight anything and we're all super. It was an ad for this game, but it was like Netflix will greenlight anything and we're gonna make superhero teams because like we're gonna be cool. And then Butters as Professor Chaos in the last episode is like, well, I'm gonna shit talk them on Facebook, and so no one wants to work with them because on Facebook everyone says they're terrible people, and it's that's like the conceit of the whole game is like we just want to make money because superheroes make money, and that's everyone can understand that.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah, I mean, what I played it's been a while, because I think I played it maybe even 2 years ago, the damn demo at PAX. And that was the feel I got from it. It's like, okay, the South Parky humor is there, but it's the superhero parody stuff that's probably what I'm going to find funny and entertaining, and the referential stuff I don't really care about. So as long as it has maintained that and kept the super referential stuff as very optional, then I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
I'll give it a try today.
The big gist is it's all superhero stuff, but like underneath it, you have the really funny things that fans would love. Like, for example, all the characters have their superheroes, but Craig is literally just Super Craig, which I think is hilarious because Craig is the only one in the show who's like, I can't believe I'm stuck with you idiots again. And he like hates everything about everyone in South Park, and he's playing along, but he's like, I'm Super Craig, and he just like has an S like
Literally just
stapled
has
to
an S taped to his normal clothes.
It's so funny. But yeah, moments like that, we're like, okay, that's for us. I think that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
I didn't even realize the new South Park season started. I watched the first one the other day.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Yep.
That show will last forever at this rate.
It really will. It really will. As long as they can make an episode in 5 days, they can keep that thing going forever.
That's the thing.
highly
Their
affordable.
Episodes are so incredibly like referential to exactly what's going on now because they make them so fast, and you're just like, what the fuck? Yeah,
Absolutely. Look at that shot today. Sounds like it's so worthwhile. That is out today, along with a bunch of other stuff. It's
I'm gonna play it
unrelenting.
today.
Yeah. It's so unrelenting. You'd think maybe there'd be a little bit calm before the November storm. No. No, it's just this year has been insane. They were just
Next week
bombarded
is-
with stuff.
Isn't Mario out soon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just got its first
Destiny,
review.
On PC, Mario, Wolfenstein,
Fuck, man.
Fire Emblem Warriors. I'm trying to think of all the games that there's games that I don't even give a shit about that are coming out. Like all these games, like it's crazy. The next 2 weeks are nuts.
Yeah.
Are insane.
Yeah, some of the games on this game list I'm loving.
Like what?
Well, no, we can talk about that in the release section. That's
Yeah,
what
there's
it's
a whole
there for.
section devoted to that.
We
Doctor.
don't. We
do
do
that.
not need
Skip
that
ahead.
in the slightest.
Can't skip ahead.
Yeah, we'll hold on to that till later. I can tell you a game I've been playing. Mine,
Go for it.
the
What?
one that I made. Well,
Ah.
me and a dev team made.
Oh.
Yes, it was
I
supposed
thought
to.
when you said mine, so
Yeah, so
like
the game's
mine, I was like,
mine.
oh, is that new? Is that
No.
What's that game? Mine?
What's that called?
Mine.
Huh.
Yeah.
Minecraft.
Mine? Yes. No. The one that we made. We've been spending a year modding StarCraft 2 to make
How do you spell it?
Yeah,
AX.
M-E-I-N?
No, you bastards. AXI.
Minecraft. It's a weird game.
Yes, indeed. You have never heard of it. Oh, Lord. Yeah, it came out a day early because, well, we managed to accidentally leak the details of it. It was like, you know what, let's put it out because I'd rather have people not speculate over it. And then, of
Yeah.
course, we realized that the thing we'd done last night to hotfix another thing that had broken major shit. So, unsurprisingly, we ran right into that. That's all fixed. There's just huge amounts of bugs we fixed today. That's all been updated now. So, we're cracking through that at a pretty rapid pace. But
What is it about? What is your thing about, TB?
Well, we want people to be able to play StarCraft 2, but not be completely overwhelmed by the mechanical demands of StarCraft 2, because it is a very, very demanding game. Especially since it's been out for 8 years, so people are quite good at it at this point. Getting into it, at least in the competitive side of things, is quite tricky. You know, the co-op mode's great, single player's great, but ladder, I mean, it's tricky stuff. So I thought, hey, well, let's make a different version. Let's make something that takes a lot of that away. And we did exactly that. And we took inspiration from games like Command & Conquer, from games like Total Annihilation, Supreme Commander, a lot of automation, a lot of different systems that have been put into place to say, like, you want to do 3 things. Build a cool base, build a big army, kill the dude with the big army. Sounds great. But there we want everything to be focused on that. Everything else, whatever. We're not really so worried about that. We don't want people to have to worry about, oh god, I have to manage all of this stuff. Someone described StarCraft in a great way. In StarCraft, you're not just the commander. You're the commander, the trainer, the logistics officer, the chef, the cook, the guy carting the cargo around, the middle manager, the lower management level, you know, HR. You're everything. Because the amount of stuff you have to control, even to a sort of minutia level, is a bit ridiculous. So was like, well, we want to just take a lot of the way and let people manage it from kind of higher level and be the commander, make the cool decisions. So there's a lot of changes that we made to the game to make that happen. And if you want to have a look at all of them, it's axiommod.com. And if you want to play it, it's free.
What's that website again?
Axiommod.com.
One more time.
Axiommod.com. Developed on Squarespace, as it happens.
Wow.
Indeed.
Wow, the background moves and everything.
Yeah, fancy stuff. And just get the Starter Edition. You don't have to own StarCraft in any way. You can download the Starter Edition if you have the Battle.net app, and you can play it just by searching for Axiom. We fixed a lot of stuff. There's a lot more to fix. There's a lot of balance that we need to sort out. You know, it's like people have already, of course, figured out aggressive cheeses and ways to win early. It's like, that's fixable. It's a cool thing about a mod, as opposed to, like, you know, I feel Blizzard when they have to deal with everything that they have to deal with balance-wise. They've got to be very carefully considerate. So it takes, like, months for them to do a change. We could do a change in, like, 2 minutes.
Wow, smart creep. That sounds great.
Indeed. Because who wants to spread creep? Because that's very hard. So don't do that.
Oh my god, I remember spreading creep.
Yeah. How well did that go for you?
Well, as a professional, a very good StarCraft player.
Yes,
very
you are a
simple,
pro
very
StarCraft
fun.
player.
For
Yes.
people that aren't as good,
Yeah.
you might not be very good at it.
Do you have to have a very high IQ to understand creep spread?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Creep spread.
Yeah.
Very high APM, very high IQ.
Indeed, yeah.
Yeah.
Incidentally, by the way, we linked a site that didn't fall over when we linked the podcast to it. So there's another great reason to go with Squarespace.
Hey, wow.
Well, there you go.
Also, shout out to, scroll down to the very bottom of the credits. Shout out to your team. Some of those fellas, especially Wade,
Yep.
worked on the video game we created for Good Game. So
That they did. Yep.
Aw.
Killcore.
Yep.
Yep. The
those guys are genuinely really skilled. So it's
Yep.
no surprise this is such a good little game you've
Yes,
created. This is
and
great.
thanks for all of the cash that you gave to them. It made it much easier to convince them to work with me. So that was
Don't
appreciated.
thank me. Thank you too.
Thank YouTube for the money. Yeah. It's good stuff. So if you want to play, by all means, like, we fixed a lot of the major problems that were in last night. Like I said, there will be balance issues. We're fixing that as we go. There's a lot of stuff you've got to, like, worry about with balance. Because some of it's going to be immediately reactionary. Some of it will fix itself over time. But then you've got to think, well, is this guy dying to this because he's bad? Or is he dying to it because it's a genuine problem? And then you've got people of all different skill levels playing the game that are going to have different opinions on it. So yeah, I mean, I feel for people that balance video games, no doubt. It's tricky.
So this is a mod then,
Yep.
essentially.
Yeah. They just did a revamp a week ago. Coincidence, I think not, of the arcade system for StarCraft 2 to make it more like Warcraft 3. So you just have a set of lobbies. So if you have any version of the game, arcade is free. So you can go and play stuff like Element Tower Defense, which is fucking amazing, and Nexus Wars, which I've played way too much of. All sorts of things like that.
Gotcha.
It's all available for free. So give it a shot. some of these guys will be participating in a charity tournament at some point over the not too distant future for this particular mod to demonstrate that even they can play it.
La, 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 la.
Yeah, la 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 la, and so on and so forth.
Oh my god. Sorry, this will take us a little off topic. Is that okay?
It's a Crendor show. I think we're expecting that by this point. The fact that we've stayed on topic
But
up to this
from
point.
you, Dodger?
amazes
My
me.
God.
I've
No.
actually been very on topic today.
Indeed.
already.
I finally played Tooth and Tail yesterday.
Yeah,
which
it's a good
everybody
game.
said is like a really easy. Hard to,
Are you about to say that it was
That
difficult?
it's really hard.
it's hard for me. but to be fair, because everybody that I knew had talked about it in a multiplayer sense so much, I thought that it would be easier to hop straight into multiplayer, and it was not.
Sure.
No.
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 Yeah, so like Octo and I played for the first time together, and we went directly into multiplayer so we could play together. And I was like, I don't know what any of these units are. That is one thing. I wish that it said, even after doing a bunch of the single player stuff, I wish that when you were in multiplayer, that it said how much each unit was.
It does.
And what it doesn't.
Yeah,
There's
it's in the bomb.
tiers, but it doesn't say how much they are when you're selecting them in the lobby.
Oh, in the lobby.
Because there's the tiers
Yeah,
of animals,
you're actually right.
And then there's
Yeah.
the defense stuff. It doesn't tell you how much the defense stuff is. I know that like the top tier
Yes.
of animals is 60, right? And I know
Yeah,
the
you
bottom
have
tier is
to-
180 or something. But
There-
the
you
defense
can-
stuff is all different.
You can hit an option that brings up a unit card that does tell you that, I'm pretty sure. But it
Oh,
isn't, that information isn't up there front and center, which you're right, it should be. There's no
Yeah.
reason to not front face that info. I was going to say, in game, you can tell it because it's in the bottom right.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Defenses do cost different stuff. Yeah, it's weird that they don't do that.
I was
yeah.
gonna play that game.
It's good, man. You should.
It's
Well,
really
I
cute.
played
Like
it. I played it at what do you call PAX, and I beat Northern Lion at it. He was
Well,
very
yes.
good.
That
Very
doesn't take
bad.
much. It's an excellent game. Like all of the kind of principles of RTS are there. It's a lot easier to control. You will get. I mean, I played against Artosis, who is a StarCraft 2 caster and used to play Brood War, and he played the game for a day and he destroyed me at it because he just understands RTS principle better than I do. Like all of those principles are very transferable, but they took away a lot of that shit just to say we're going to simplify the way that you control it. It's an excellent game. It just got patched, I think. It just got a big update. So, I mean, I'd keep at it. You know, you'll certainly get your ass kicked online the first few times. There's no doubt. The single player will help you out a little bit because it introduces all the units and their best roles, and it puts you in scenarios where they would be good. So that helps a little bit.
it is hard to wrap your head around the idea that you are the rally point.
Yes. Yeah.
Like you are always the rally point. I like that you can burrow back home. It encourages you to do a lot of scouting, but yeah, that was a concept that was hard for me. And I still don't know. Octo was saying that he figured out how, but I still can't figure out how to grab only one type of unit.
Yeah.
It's one of the triggers. So like,
Are you playing with a controller?
Oh, I'm on keyboard.
I can't quite remember. It's I think you the way that you scroll through with the mouse wheel to select the thing you want to build, you can do the same thing. I think you just left click and that will specifically send one unit type instead of all of them.
Yeah,
if
it's whatever
I
you have
remember
highlighted.
Yeah.
And then whatever your click thing is, then that moves just that unit type.
Yeah, just the left mouse button. That's the way to do it. Yeah, and that's a great way of doing it because eventually you realize if you've got like the artillery dudes, you want those a bit further back. So it's like I position these guys here, and then I quickly flick my mouse wheel or press 1 through 6 to select the other unit type, get my squirrels at the front, get my tanky stuff at the front. It takes a little bit getting used to, but once you get into it, I love how quick the game is, and I love the fact, as much as I kind of criticize that you can get unbalanced maps, the random maps make it feel so fresh every time you play. Because if you lose a game, you're like, you know what? I'm going to go onto a brand new map that no one has ever seen and will never see again. Let's go. Let's just get back in.
I had a map in one of our games where I had 3 windmills just in my spawning area. And I was like,
Jesus, it
all
can
right.
happen. I think they need to rein that in a little bit, maybe balance it a little bit more than that. But I've been in one where I was surrounded by swamp and had no building space whatsoever. And the other guy was like, yeah, I'm on like a 4-wall high fortress area with no line of sight and cliffs covering every side. Like, this is fucking horrible.
This is not fair.
Yes.
That kind of happened in like a lot of old RTS games. Like I remember when I played Age of Empires or Empire Earth, you would be like, all right, where's the gold? And the one guy'd have like all the gold and shit by him.
Especially if you play random maps, yeah. And I used to play random maps all the time. It's like, yeah, I don't have this key resource that I need to win. Shit.
You have like 5 trees near you. You're like, I can build 2 buildings with these.
Yeah, and the other guy just comes in with nuclear bombers after about 5 minutes. Like, I think this went wrong. There's still some work they need to do there, but it's a really fun game. It's a genuinely
really
fun
cool.
game. Well,
The art is great too.
Yeah, split screen as well. I'll come play it in the office when I'm over on the West Coast next week. It'll be good shit.
Play
Still
some
needs-
scary games too.
No, I'm not playing your.
$5.
I'm not playing your stupid $5 scary games. I imagine you are Pennywise. You are You're just a really cheap Pennywise. I see you, and he's like, you want some $5 horror games? And it's just like, no, Crendor, and I just fill it in with cement, and it's just like, that's it.
Take it.
Yeah. Nope. Not gonna happen.
Crendor, can someone just, that meme of like
Just do
someone
it.
popping up in the sewers?
Yes.
Just have TB as a little boy and Crendor pop up.
Yeah.
$5
Got some
like
$5
$5
horror games?
I'm holding a $5 bill. Like,
Yeah.
I just love the one that's like, hey kid, you want your boat? And then the kid's like, no, I can make another one. And it's just the credits.
If you haven't seen the SNL skit, by the way, and I'm not someone to usually recommend SNL skits because it's American humor. Holy shit, Kelly Wise is fucking hilarious. Unbelievable. Very, very
I'm not
funny.
one to recommend American humor. That is my
No,
favorite
'cause
statement you've ever made in the history
I'm
of
not.
statements.
Just you guys
not one to
generally just
recommend
don't do it very
American
well. I'm
humor.
sorry. American humor. It's you do a lot of stuff that isn't funny. I'm sorry, it's true. One of your failings as a country is you're not that funny.
Well,
I like that if I'm over in the UK, I have the exact same. I'm like,
You have
this
the same
country's
problem.
humor is trash.
Yeah. I can understand
I
that.
don't know. When I watched British TV, it was pretty interesting.
That's some good shit.
It was a lot less dramatic on a lot of the shows.
Oh god, that's the reason I love watching the British version of Kitchen Nightmares over the American version. The American version is
Much
unwatchably
less
horrible.
screaming.
Even like I watched the House Hunter things there. Here they're like,
Yeah.
what house will they pick? And there they're like, we just like a house in the countryside. And well, I guess we'll go
Well,
look
here,
at one.
Yeah.
the reason why, the more I think about this, the reason why is because commercial breaks. All the fucking commercial breaks where it's like, we need to hype it up so much that people are going to sit through 3.5 minutes of garbage in order to come back. So,
To some extent, but like Kitchen Nightmares, for instance, was a Channel 4 show in the UK, which is a commercial channel. It's not the BBC, it's not finance. So that had breaks as well, and they didn't feel the need to do it there.
Yeah,
Well,
but
Kitchen Nightmares
that is drama. That is British drama. That's intense for them. In America,
Yeah,
we're like,
very
hype it up.
intense.
We need fast food ADHD drama right now.
Well, go. I think it's on Netflix still. I don't know. Go watch Kitchen Nightmares or Hell's Kitchen or any of the Gordon Ramsay shows back to back on Netflix. I did that one time because I was really bored. I'm telling you, they flat out lie. At the end of those shows, they're like, next time on Hell's Kitchen. And they show you clips of shit that
didn't
does not happen on the next episode.
Yeah.
And because you can watch them back to back, you notice, you're like,
Yeah.
wait, no one was going to stab anyone. They just flat out lied to you.
Yeah. I hate it. Like, I've tried several times to watch the American version of Hell's Kitchen, and I cannot fucking stand it. I wish there was an easy way to... There's a channel... This is Crendor's channel in a nutshell. Crendor, have you ever watched Dave? The television channel is called Dave.
We totally did because we watched a QI on there, Crendor.
Yeah.
We definitely did.
Dave
Yeah,
is so good. It's all mostly like British comedy shows and things like that. And it's the name of the channel is just Dave. I wish there was an easy way to just watch Dave in the US. I've tried. It's like, oh, VPN. It's like, I'm not that desperate, but to jump through those hoops.
Great.
But yeah, Dave has got some awesome stuff in it. Apparently
Every
they've
time
just
in the UK, that's when I fall asleep to.
Dave,
Because they
yeah.
usually play like 52 episodes of QI in a row.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh my god! When I was there and I turned on like the morning cartoons, there was one cartoon of these people and they're like, "We're gonna teach you how to raid a castle," and then they like all these little cartoon guys went and took over some kid's castle and they're like, "Now we've sieged him." And I was like, "This is some crazy shit for a kid."
Two things about children's TV in the UK. One, Rough Tweet and Dave. That's for my UK people. That's my favorite show. I love Rough Tweet and Dave. That's a great show. Then there's one where it's this woman who is a pirate, and she's like, "Come on, kids!" And all the little kids in the audience are pirates too, and they have to face the like evil captain and her two henchmen, and they like do activities, but they're like, one of them was a kid's running through a wheelbarrow thing they're turning. Or a barrel they're turning while the two pirates throw shit at the kids, and the kids are falling over and stuff. And then at the end, the reward is that they get to dunk. If they win, they get to dunk the pirate queen in like goop. I was like, this is the greatest show.
We do a lot of the goop thing. Like when I was a kid, I remember watching a show that was like, the punishment is the adult gets dumped in a pile of toxic waste, like something along those lines. There was so much of that.
That's what the show is. The reward isn't you get money or a prize or whatever. It's like you get to dunk this old lady in goop.
Yep. We just like that. Just like, tough shit, lady. You're going in. You might get superpowers. You might get cancer, but it's got to be entertaining. We love it.
I'll make $50 in
Gunge.
Yeah. People ask what I do at CoxCon. That was it. I was watching those shows. I love those shows.
Every time I go back home, I definitely do that.
I mean,
I'm going back.
When I was in LA the other week, we just watched bad TV as well, but that was on MTV.
That was MTV, and
but that's bad TV. British TV isn't bad. It's just it's different.
Yeah.
Y'all got the greats like Come Dine With Me.
Yeah.
That's literally just an excuse to fucking make fun of people.
Yeah.
All right. Let me tell you. All right. So I'm going to tell you an MTV show.
You can tell we've run out of games to talk about, by the way. We got nothing else. So
about a UK show. And
okay.
All right. So the MTV show that we watched was this show where these people were all in a house. All right. And then they're like, if you are scientifically matched up, you can win $1 million or some shit like that. And I was like, how do they determine this? How do they determine this through science? And they're like, all right, so who here likes music? And the one girl's like, I like music. And then they're like, well, we matched up
the guy that got like,
rapper guy.
I'm a rapper. And she's like,
I just wanted a deadpan. I said I liked music. And they'd be like, oh! Except we don't do that in Britain. Like, so then, we just have just a stone face silence.
She starts talking to this Instagram guy like that night, and she's like, "Oh, I've seen you on Instagram." And then the rapper guy's like, "Yo, like he's taking my girl," and then he just sits there. And
all right, Crendor's playing this poorly. Literally, the show is 16 men and women put into a house together. All of them gorgeous, but all of them like basically whores. They all want to know each other. Everyone there wants to have sex with everyone else, but the way you win is by not only picking the right person for you, but then going into a room where they tell you if you were scientifically matched to be together based on the surveys you filled out at the beginning. Okay. And if you are, you win. So the whole point is everyone needs to like bang around enough to find the person that's right for them so that they can win the money. And what's happening is like some people fall in love, but you realize like you're not matched together. So if you're going to be together, you lose. And it's about like seeing who's there just for the money, experiment. Seeing who's there just. There's one guy there in the first episode. There was one girl who immediately had sex with the dude and then went downstairs and like started making out with other dudes. Then there was one guy who went up to this one girl, was like, "Girl, I'm not a player." And 5 minutes later is like in the bathroom in the shower with this girl, and then he leaves, and another girl comes in and makes out with him, and he goes to bed with the previous girl, and you're like, what?
You know, it's almost like this sounds a little scripted in some ways.
Oh,
just saying.
It's MTV.
Yeah, it definitely
is. Yeah.
I Snapchatted Jesse's natural reaction as he was watching. He didn't even notice, and he was just like,
it was, I couldn't, the people on the show were literally trash people, like, just awful people. There's one girl who I'm not going to say who, but looked like the ex of one of our friends, and I'm not sure that it wasn't her. I was like, I think that I kept looking on Crendor. I was like, I think that's her. Yeah. So one of our, it was weird. It was weird. And here's the thing: I've known people because we're in LA. I know people who have done MTV shows before. That's how I very much know they're all scripted and fake. But like, I think it just might straight up have been her. But like they used a different name. It looks exact, and I was just like, what? Yeah, I don't.
They also had a show called 90s House, which remember, it's just a show where everybody goes to a house where you got to be like the 90s. Like, give us your technology and dress like you're in the 90s, and that's the whole premise.
You know what? And they did the most racist, terrible thing in the world, where the one Asian guy had all the technology, and they took it all from him, and he's like crying. He's like, oh, I can't live without it.
Yeah, and then they like ask him later, like, "Oh, you're crying," and he's like, "I had to cry to play the game." I was like, "Holy shit!" But then, all right, UK, all right, you think MTV like, "Oh yeah, it's stupid." In the UK, there's a show.
They have fucking Love Island and shit. They're not any better.
Yeah,
than
there
us.
was a show where naked people go on a stage, and then one person picks who they want. They're just like, "All right, now here's all their asses. Which ass do you like?" And they're like, "I like that ass." And they're like, "All right, other people."
Yeah, there's one episode
And
where
they've all inexplicably become like Boston.
There's one episode where it's just like guys' dicks, and she's like, "I like that dick." That's literally an episode of TV.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
No, not fair. That's terrible.
No, they're very straightforward about it. I don't see the problem with that.
Yeah, Naked Attraction. That's what it was called.
Oh.
Listen, it's a great show.
I don't believe you.
20 minutes. Then
I don't believe you in the slightest. Somehow we just didn't play any more games this week. That's why we're
I can
here.
talk about Battlefront.
No, we did that last week. I don't know if you've got anything you can add.
Of it?
Yeah, sure. Why not? What you got?
All right. So what I found out about the game when I played, because I played it once, for a few hours, and I actually didn't mind it. I was like, oh,
I didn't either.
Well,
right.
I was like, it was okay or whatever, and then I played it again, and after playing it a second time, I was like, I don't know what changed, but I don't want to play this anymore. I think I just got tired of everything. I think
maybe it just doesn't have a lot of depth. You just like hit that the bottom. You're like, oh, that was it. Oh, okay.
So like specifically Naboo, it's like, all right, I want to be on droids because I can play Darth Maul, and if you play Darth Maul, you win. It's literally who can get Darth Maul because Han Solo's trash.
Yeah.
Rey is like a low tier mediocre Darth Maul. Then there's like Chewbacca or whatever shit, and then someone else. And then Darth Maul is like, hey, I can throw my lightsaber as a boomerang. I can spin around and kill everyone. I can like dash all around. It's like he's just broken to shit. And so it was literally Star Wars Darth Maul. It was like, oh, they got Darth Maul, we lose.
Yeah, we were talking about that before. It's once you get the hero character, whatever it is, especially Darth Maul, it's over. It's GG.
Yeah. And then I played Han Solo. I was like, oh, counter him with Han Solo. Han Solo just sprinted and then died. I was like, this guy's the shittiest.
We were talking about how, it's a power fantasy simulator where one guy gets to have the fun and everybody else has to die in order for him to have the fun. It's
That's
like,
what it is.
This sucks. Like, maybe heroes were a mistake. Just saying, maybe we shouldn't have had those.
And then I tried the small like 8v8 map. It was just like capture the flag type thing or whatever, and it was like
that's boring game mode. Have you seen the new map?
Which is what?
100 stormtroopers jump out of a TIE fighter. There's a small island.
They do? Really?
No, I'm just making this up.
All right.
But
oh god, I just understood what you were talking about. Fuck off. I wish it just was a TIE fighter, just so that it's a TIE fighter, and on the side of it is a picture of the current EA CEO just giving you both fingers. And he's like, fuck you, we know you're buying it anyway. And it's just like him pissing on the word visceral, just out of nowhere.
The map spells out visceral, and the TIE fighter just sprays golden shower on it.
Oh god, that's terrible. There's like the Amy Hennig Memorial site that's just at the top of the island somewhere.
That's where the best guns are.
Oh Jesus, yeah. That's about. I mean, you've got to pay one loot box to get in, but.
So I don't know if you've talked about this game.
I'm gonna go with probably.
So there's this game called Yonder: The Cloudcatcher Chronicles.
Oh god, we talked about that I think months ago. That one.
All right. Well, I
Okay,
played that
apparently we're
game
doing that
for,
before the
like,
break. Sure.
12 hours. And it was like the most chill game ever. And
Why
I
didn't
was
you
like,
bring this up hours ago when we had games to talk about? Why did this just come out? You played it for 12 hours?
on my desktop.
Yo,
Okay.
this looks super cool.
If you look, like, I saw it and the graphics were like, I was like, whoa, this looks really good. And so I played it. And so it's a very like relaxing type game. Like, this is a chill out, like, I'm at the end of the day, I need an hour's whatever to just
It's
chill
not
out.
remotely hard. That's my understanding of it. Like,
There's
it's just
there's no combat. It's just you explore, you like get animals and like train them, you like help little quest things, you craft some stuff, and you just run around, and like it's a very explorative type of game. And so it's almost like a Breath of the Wild type of graphic style.
Yeah, we noticed that when we first brought it up. It's like, yeah, this looks kind of familiar.
Yeah. And so like it's just a chill game. And so I streamed it, and I would just always stream like an hour, and people were like, dude, I'm falling asleep. Like, it's just so relaxing. And so I had to shout them out.
My
Yeah,
favorite
there you
part is the developer, Prideful Sloth.
Yeah, they're called the Prideful Sloth.
That's a major conflict of interest. That's on the level of IGN and Humble Bundle, which we
Sloths has created a bias situation.
indeed. You need to disclose that prior to talking about this ever again.
My
We'll,
bad.
of course, be talking about the IGN Humble thing right after the break, no doubt. We would have talked about Visceral, but we already got in on them pretty early in the show. We'll take a break. When we come back, news and releases, ladies and gents, you're watching the Corruptional Podcast. Don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Corruptional Podcast, and straight into the news. We already dug at the Visceral thing, and the closing down of Visceral by EA, and the fairly horrible statement that was put out after that. I'm sure that's going to be talk of the town for a little while. But there are a few other things that are worthy of discussion, and since we've already gone about as far into that as we can, we'll have a look at a few other things. For instance, big news of the week, Humble Bundle has been acquired by IGN, which was not exactly received well by a lot of people. Let's just put it that way. It's unsurprising. IGN has a reputation. Humble has a reputation of being a big charitable organization. People are afraid that being involved with IGN will change some of that. People are upset, of course, that Humble has essentially sold the company to another much, much larger company that may very well not act in the same way. And of course, there are people who are concerned about what the hell happens when a company that is a games retailer and a games publisher, bear in mind Humble published A Hat in Time, and they published other games as well, is now literally owned by a media organization that also writes game reviews. So, which is, potential conflict of interest. There's no doubt about that, I think.
There's a lot of that in this industry from everywhere. And this is just another example. Like, I know there's a lot of companies that operate in the streaming world that are in with esports teams. Like, okay, like there's a lot of this going on, and this is a huge example of it, in that you are a company that publishes games that if it was just a thing that sold games, cool, that's fine.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time IGN's even done that. They had direct to drive back in the day.
Yeah, I just think it's nice that they included the step on recent stuff of being like, hey, this is something we published, but I don't know how legal any of this is.
It'll be,
Humble Bundle's supposed to be nice humble bundle.
I mean, there's a lot of that.
Bundle.
That in itself is like a big image problem. The FTC is going to be looking at this because, as you said, the Hat in Time thing, they retroactively disclosed. And I'm fine with that. Like, the people who wrote the review didn't even know this was happening. But in my opinion, disclosure for games you've published isn't enough. You should be not reviewing that game at all. You shouldn't be covering that game. There's a very clear conflict of interest there because you have a direct financial interest in how well the game does. So you can't do that.
Of Nintendo Power or PlayStation Magazine.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, totally.
Those things where it's like, we can give you the in-depth scoop about these games that we are definitely publishing and that we want to give a high review.
Yeah, and back in the day, there was that. There was official magazines that would give high reviews to anything that was a first-party title. That existed. The thing is, IGN has this appearance of independence. And I think nobody was really silly enough to believe the official Dreamcast magazine wouldn't give the latest Sega game a high review.
Yeah, Nintendo Power. It's now
Or
like
Nintendo
an
Power,
IGN
yeah.
bundle.
Yeah, I mean, it's a giant, it was a giant shill magazine. Everybody knew that. As well as some people do know, although a lot of people still don't, that Game Informer is owned by GameStop. So there's inherent problems with that as well. But this all goes beyond that, because it's a games publisher and a retailer being owned by the biggest games media organization out there.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, in particular, I just think, like, for stuff like in future, like Hat in Time, IGN shouldn't be touching it with a 10-foot pole. They can't be trusted to do anything that wouldn't be compromised.
No way they won't. There's no way they won't. Because it goes against their best interest. Like, of course, they're so big, they have to say, like, this is a game coming out, and you should definitely check this out. There's no way they wouldn't. Which, again, goes
Unless
back to...
they're told not to by the FTC, which they might be.
Yeah, exactly. I think, while it's awesome of them to be like, look, yeah, this is our thing. We didn't expect this to happen, but, like, it did. So we're letting you know. I think that's cool. Good on them.
That's fine.
Legally, I don't know that this can fly. And so I don't know what they're going to do. I'm really curious to see what happens. But I saw the other day on Twitter that you were having a conversation about this same thing.
With Ryan Morrison, the VG attorney guy. Yeah, he's probably going to be looking at it. I mean, I was talking to Greggy about it from Kind of Funny. And he was like, yo, good on them for doing that. I'm like, you know what? That's probably not enough. Like, IGN... And I keep bringing Metacritic up, and people's like, well, IGN's not responsible for Metacritic. I don't fucking agree with that for a second, because you as an organization can opt out of Metacritic. So, like, by not doing that, you are implicitly saying that, yeah, we're okay with Metacritic representing our opinion. And that disclaimer for Hat in Time is not on the Metacritic score. It's not on the Metacritic review. Like, you have to have clipped through to see that. And at that point, the FTC, considering what they've said to people on YouTube, where it's like, the disclosure must be unavoidable. I mean, Jesse, you just had that issue where you had to delete an entire video series because you couldn't go back and retroactively edit a video to orally disclose something, because that's literally impossible. Yeah, so you had to delete a whole video series as a result.
I was told by Sony either literally go back and put VO in it, which is an impossibility. You can't do that, or remove it. And it's like, okay, well, I could, because I streamed it first, the VODs, because it's a huge clusterfuck and it's not worth the time to re-upload stuff. So it's like, no, all right, I'll just remove it. Like, I can't do the thing you want me to do. And it's only because way after the fact, Sony was contacted by the by the FCC and they were just like, well, you have to do this now. And so Sony reached out and was like, you need to fix this. And it was like,
companies are cracking down on that in a big way. And bear in mind, that's just Jesse doing a sponsored promotional. It wasn't even that. You just got a free copy.
I did no promotion.
Yeah, no promotion.
And I did,
that was for a review copy. You had to delete a whole video series over that.
It wasn't even a copy of the game that was like, you get it early, and so you can play it early. I literally played it 3 days after the game launched. It was like they just sent me a copy of the game, and they were still like, you need to mention this. I was like, I can't. I streamed it already. It's already happened. And they're like, well, there's nothing we can do. And so like, we don't want the lawyers to come after you. And I was like, what?
They wouldn't. So that's nonsense. Like, that's way overprotective, but it happened. So if you're really thinking that the FTC wouldn't look at IGN owning a games publisher and a games retailer while being the biggest review outlet on the planet, you are out of your mind. They absolutely will look at it, and they're going to have to look at it. And there's several layers of potential conflict of interest. We talked about the whole idea they now have a financial incentive for anything that is ever on the Humble Bundle, and Humble Bundle has far grown past just indie games. They do AAA releases. They sold games that are brand new on release. So obviously IGN wants to push people to that because they get the money. They get the percentage from that. So that's an issue. But then you also have the games publishing issue where the IGN has a clear vested financial interest in a game doing well. Ergo, they should review it highly so that it has a better chance of doing well because they published that game. There's layer upon layer of potential problems with this, and anybody trying to sweep that under the rug doesn't have a clue what they're talking about. It's a mess.
It's one of those things where things retroactively happen in this industry, and so you might have done something a while ago, and they can go back and be like, well, you need to fix that now.
Yeah.
And I think that the more I see, especially with YouTube and with streaming and all the different changes, even the other day, Dukes, you and I were talking about how Twitch reached out to people and was like, if you have like copyrighting content in your streams, like music, whatever, shit's gonna happen to you. And they're like, what? This never happened before. And they're like,
But the company's
just happens.
gonna, like,
now they care.
do it eventually. Like, when they do, like, you just got to be aware that you might start getting strikes and you might start getting music companies contacting you.
The more popular and the bigger all this gets, the more and more those companies are going to be like, hey, we want our share. And that's tough.
Yep. I don't like the acquisition. I just think it is a straight up conflict of interest. There's too much potential for that. Even if you did the things I said, like never covered a game you were going to publish or anything like that, it's still a huge conflict of interest. There's so much that could potentially go wrong with that. And sure, well done to the guys at Humble for getting out like bandits, and maybe they're set for life now. Cool, but simultaneously, it'll be interesting to see how well Humble does with the IGN branding when they have been for years carried on the back of this idea that they're this little indie company that wants to help charity. You can't really be that while then being associated with Ziff Davis Media and a giant IGN media group. Those two things are incompatible.
That's very true. Like, you don't think about that Humble Bundle was successful because it was like, look at all these things and we're giving it to charity and we're doing this and it's super cheap. And the minute a big conglomerate like IGN attaches itself to it, it loses what it had.
Yeah.
Like that happens all the time when it comes to small startups and fun things like that. A bigger company jumps on and kills it.
Yep.
So this will be interesting.
Yeah, we'll have to see how they treat it.
Yeah. We'll see. If it may very well negatively impede the success of the Humble Bundle. It may not do a damn thing, but there's no question that I think we should keep an eye on it. A very close eye on what exactly it is that Humble is publishing and what IGN does to cover those games and how well it discloses it.
Especially things like, because there's a lot of times you'll be on IGN and you'll be looking at a review and then on the side the ad is for the game you're looking at the review for.
Yeah, and a lot of that is like, well, was that random from the ad provider? Was that bought?
Right. You don't know.
You've got the editorial and ad department separation that they'll always claim that it's there, but of course you can never prove that wall's never breached. And it has been breached in the past before. You've got to trust them on that. And
it could be like YouTube where it's just random and they're like, you made a WoW video, here's a WoW ad.
Yeah, absolutely. But there's no way to ever really know that. It's about building trust, and IGN will have to do that, at least for the knowledgeable people. But I still feel IGN's like, it's still as big as it is because it is read by a lot of people that are not massively aware of these industry things. It's just a place you go for very easy games coverage.
Yeah.
Those are the people I'm concerned about being potentially misled. Hopefully that will not happen. All right, so that's that. Jesse, you had an interesting topic that just popped up.
Literally moments ago. It's been exploding all over the interwebs at the moment. But Rolling Stone posted an article that is titled "How Activision Uses Matchmaking Tricks to Sell In-Game Items."
Yeah.
It's literally as simple as this. Activision patented a system, like straight up got a patent for a microtransaction system in multiplayer video games, and Rolling Stone found it and dug it out. It was granted, it was filed in 2015, granted on the 17th. And
today, literally. Yeah.
And literally what it does is the way the system works, and Crendor explained it pretty.
Well, it's right here in the article thing. So it's like, there's an example of like a newbie player may wish to become an expert sniper in a game. According to the patent, the microtransaction engine may match the newbie player with a player that is a highly skilled sniper in the game. In this manner, that player may be encouraged to make a game-related purchase such as a rifle or other item used by that marquee player.
Oh, that's insidious. Jesus.
Yeah.
So literally they patented the idea of placing you against someone who is infinitely better because he bought something or has something better than you
Fuck me.
to make you be like, oh, I want that fucking thing, to then go spend money.
That's
To make you
nasty.
frustrated enough that you're like, fuck, I need better gear. Like now.
Well, some of it would be that. Some of it would just be he has a cool looking gun.
And I want that cool looking gun too.
For cosmetics, sure. I mean, there's a reason why cosmetics are shown in kill screens, for instance, because they want you to be like, I'm jelly of that. If it ends up being like power level related stuff, which we have seen, Activision titles, recent Call of Duty started by selling cosmetic stuff, and then the stuff in crates became straight up stat stuff that was better. So they were pushing it that way. If you saw that implemented into future Call of Duties with supply drops and supply crates with better guns, and the game deliberately tried to find you an opponent that had it so he could whip your ass around a little bit with this thing, I could see it being used more in games like Clash Royale. Like if Activision ran a game like that. I don't know if they own any games like that. They probably do. But let's say, let's take the Clash Royale example. It matches me up, knowing I'm going down a certain path, against someone who actually has a card that I don't own that is a direct fucking counter to my deck. The guy whips my ass with it. I get super frustrated and say, fuck, I want that card now. I'm going to have to buy some packs so I can get that card, or buy packs to buy the counter to that card. There's some nasty potential in that.
Yeah, because the matchmaking system at that point isn't matching you up for like a fair match. It's matching you to make money.
Yes.
There's an insidious, deeper level of this as well. Imagine it's just cosmetic, right? Imagine it's just the gun looks cool.
Yeah.
Literally what this is saying, though, the microtransaction engine may match a more expert player, marquee player, with a junior player to encourage the junior player to make game-related purchases of items used by the marquee player. So it doesn't even have to be that the weapon is better. They're matching you with a player who's way better than you so that you have the illusion that somehow the stuff he has makes him better. And if I can buy the same things that guy has, I can be as good as that player, even if it's just the way things look. Or maybe he has a different gun than you use, but you're like, oh shit, maybe I should start using that gun because that guy. So like, there's multiple shitty things going on here. Like this is like terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible shit.
It's like the type of shit, they got like psychologists and marketers working there.
Absolutely.
Like, all right, I know how we get them.
Yeah. Yes, there's a bunch of that. And it's also something that people should be concerned about because it's another reason not to make sort of dedicated and community servers. Because if you want that level of control, you have to have a matchmaking system that lets you do that. If people are simply picking who they're playing with, you don't get to do that anymore. So that's another thing that people will want, even if you think, oh, I'm not affected by the system, you are, because they're going to force you through a system rather than let you choose who to play with because they can't market to you otherwise. Nasty stuff.
Yeah. And this is all like with Destiny 2 coming out by them. So, I mean, I feel like Destiny 2 will probably have a fair share of this happening. Unless they're like, no.
Oh my God. Here's even more of, oh my God.
Yes.
Okay, so let's say you've bought this item, right? This is the continuation. Doing so may enhance a level of enjoyment for the player, by the player for the game-related purchase, which may encourage future purchases, according to the patent. For example, if the player purchased a particular weapon, the microtransaction engine may match the player in a gameplay session in which the particular weapon is highly effective, giving the player the impression that the particular weapon was a good purchase. This may encourage the player to make future purchases to achieve similar gameplay results.
Any other way of looking at other than this is potentially highly insidious and exploitable.
God, that's so fucked up.
Not to mention, you go in even deeper and then you could start manipulating things like the odds in loot boxes. Because, they're blind boxes, so there's nothing regulating that right now. You can have the system deliberately fuck with people. Like, it's determined you want a specific item, and it deliberately doesn't give it to you so that you spend more on opening fucking boxes.
Here's the crazy thing. The end of this article, in 2016, Activision Blizzard said it earned $3.6 billion, up 1.6 from 2015.
Oh, yeah.
Or it's 1.6 billion in 2015. It's 3.6 billion in 2016. what kind of games came out in 2016? Loot box games.
It was well, you got to bear in mind they own King. They spent a shit ton of money on King, which a lot of people are like, you idiots for spending a bunch of money on King. No, apparently they're not, because King games are extremely popular and have a huge number of whales, and that's where that money is coming from. Make no mistake about it. That money is pouring in through microtransactions or loot boxes, and you can see why they're trying to push them into mainstream and core gaming titles as well, because they're working so well on mobile. And Overwatch will, of course, have made some of that money as well. There's no doubt about that.
Overwatch has loot boxes, so let's not
it does, yeah.
lie about that either.
No, it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Man, that is like, here's the crazy thing. That is verbiage and wordage straight up used in the patent. Like they are not hiding the fact that they're literally saying, we are going to, like, we want people to buy guns and then we will match them up with people that will get destroyed by their weapons.
I mean,
That's what they're saying.
On a patent, right? Because then the patent's useless. Like it has to describe exactly what you're doing.
Yes.
And what they're doing is like fucked up. Like that is that's next level.
Yeah.
It's the honesty there is just like, yeah, no, we're purposefully, this is a scam that we're purposely running on people.
Yep, and I've said this, and this sort of comes into the topic we were coming in after that, which was the ESRB actually commented on the loot box situation. ESRB basically said they do not consider loot boxes gambling. The PEGI board, which is the guys in Europe and the UK, said that would be up to the government to determine that. And there was actually a petition that went to the UK government that did get a response, which was kind of a generic, we'll look into it kind of thing. They're going to push this to the point where government intervention is required.
Necessary.
And they're idiots for allowing that to happen. You know, we didn't expect the ESRB to come down. I mean, the ESRB is literally owned by the companies doing this. They're the ones who made the body in the first place. It's owned by the ESA, the Entertainment Software Association. Guess who owns the ESA? Activision. You know, it's made up of Activision and EA and Ubisoft and these kind of companies. So, of course that's going to be the case. But if you don't regulate, they will come in and regulate for you, and you might not like the results of that. And they're pushing this year. They've been pushing this so hard to the edge of reason. They are going to get the government involved.
Man, it's like that's exactly what's going to happen.
Of course it is. It has to.
Soon people are going to make a site like, I don't know, CSGO Lotto or something with those.
Nah, who would ever do something like that?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. This makes CSGO Lotto look like child's play. This is next level. This is literally saying we are going to, if you buy a thing,
the scam is built into the game.
We're going to change the game for you to make it so that it's easier for you, even though what you bought may not actually make it easier. It improves your skill none because you're going against worse people. Thanks for buying shit.
Yeah.
You become an unwitting agent of their microtransaction sales. It's like, it is layer upon layer of bullshit. Yes.
And then the way the cycle repeats is that everyone's going to see you, the guy with the cool gun, murdering everyone, and be like, oh, well, if I just buy that gun or buy that thing, then I'll be better. And then you get rewarded for buying it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very silly. Like and these blind box mechanics, without knowing what's inside, you have no way of knowing that a system like this isn't messing with the odds. You have no way of knowing that. And it will be. Of course it will be. I mean, why wouldn't it? There's a reason why the stuff in, as bad as a reputation as gambling has, the Nevada Gaming Commission has this shit on lock. Like every little thing that goes on with any machine in Vegas, they know instantly. And it's fucking triple verified. Every change that happens, the odds have got to be there. If there's any change to the odds, the player must be immediately told of that. And if they don't, the Nevada Gaming Commission comes down on that casino like a ton of bricks. They had to do that because gambling is an addictive, psychologically manipulative activity that can cause all sorts of problems for people. So you've got to regulate it. You've got to keep an eye carefully on it. If you don't, corporations pull this shit. And where we are right now is, in my opinion, without question, gambling territory. I don't care if it's like the argument the ESRB made is weak shit, by the way. They're like, well, we don't consider it gambling because you always get something. Oh, great, cool, yeah. So if I went into a casino, put $5 in the machine and got a penny back, would that not be considered gambling? Fuck you. Like, that's the same rationale that was used for the pachinko machines in Japan to get around the legislation there. And it's bullshit there. Pachinko's gambling. It's straight up gambling. There's no doubt about it. And so is this. And besides, that stuff doesn't have any value anyway. Tell me what the value of an Overwatch skin is. You can't, because it has no monetary value. You can't sell it. It's locked into the system. It has zero value. None. So I don't buy it. It's bullshit from the ESRB, and they need to take some goddamn responsibility. Because as we're seeing, people are taking this as far as they can take it. And they're going to keep going.
Battleground bandana is very, very worth something. All right.
Well, but you're correct though. It is.
It's worth $500 on eBay.
The weird thing about that is you're right. It actually is worth stuff. Those are some of the few games that actually allow you to sell that stuff. But the rest of these blind box games, you're paying money for something that can't leave the game economy. And inherently has zero value in and of itself. That can be easily manipulated and can be easily set up in such a way as to fuck with you. Yeah. That's not good.
Here's the thing. Destiny, for example, I know the community guy from Destiny tweeted out a thing that was like, none of this functionality appears in Destiny. That, I know Blizzard would probably have something to say about this. Here's the thing. It doesn't matter because there's a weird taint now where it's like in the future it could happen. And
yeah, you don't know.
Cool. God bless you if your game does not have this because it shouldn't. It's terrible. But like, there's always the wonder now because they own it. If it's in there.
They could.
Yeah. And that's scary. That's all it is, scary. Because that's
just trust them on the idea that it's not there. It's closed source game. We have no idea. We have no way of knowing. We have none of the information. And you don't have to disclose it, and God knows you're not disclosing it.
Yeah. And it's worrisome because just because, especially for online multiplayer games, every one of those, especially MMOs, MMORPGs, MMO whatever Destiny is, MMO Destinies, they all have a thing that says like this game can change.
Yeah.
And this will change.
That's like catch-all.
Yeah. What you're signing or what you're agreeing to will eventually change anyway. So they can change it if they want to. And just because there are good people there now who don't want it, doesn't mean that a year from now or 2 years from now, there won't be someone who's like, well, this is what we're doing.
And they've done it before. Like, they said they wouldn't do it in COD, and then they fucking did it a year later in COD. Like, they've done this in the past. None of the current properties might be using the system right now, but they have the patent for it. They could, at any time, put this in, and you wouldn't have a clue that they did it.
Yeah.
It sucks. 2017, regardless of having so many good games, has been a year of loot boxes being pushed to sickening extents. Mm-hmm. Without a doubt. Excuse me, it's... Blah. Yeah, very much blah.
Infuriating.
It is, yeah, definitely. It's like, well, just trust us. Why would we do that? For what reason have you given us? All you do, like, the industry is built on lying to people, even if it's just to surprise them. As Jim Sterling actively said, on Monday, he's totally right. It's an industry built on lies.
Apart loot boxes.
Yeah. All right, let's see what else. Not a huge amount. Then Cuphead sold 1 million copies. Congratulations to them. Awesome. Yay. There's people that just sold a video game and made some money off it, and that's great. Not that doesn't happen a lot. There's been, so like the Cuphead actually earned some articles from people saying, wow, it's a game in 2017 that didn't have any of this stuff and sold anyway. Yeah, a lot of games sell that don't have this bullshit. Like, bear in mind, this microtransaction loot box bullshit is still the minority of games. There's still these are not exceptions.
It's in the public eye because it's all AAAs.
Yes, yeah, very much so. There's tons of good games. There's great indie games that come out every week. There's even, great games from AA's and AAA's that come out. Games published by Devolver, games published by Paradox that don't have any of this shit either. These are the exceptions. They just happen to be very big name exceptions. So bear that in mind. Riot's co-founders going back to making new games. They don't want to work on LoL anymore.
League of Legends is a fun game. I'm almost gold again.
Man,
Haven't touched the game in years.
Dude, so many people have gotten back into LoL recently.
Really?
Well,
Why? Has there
the
been
end of
like
the
a big
season
change?
is almost. Well, they've been doing worlds and stuff.
All
so
right,
everybody's
yeah,
watching
that would do
World,
it.
And then
Yeah.
it's almost
Watching
the end of the
TSM
season.
lose again, you mean?
Yeah.
It's almost the end of the season, and so we gotta get gold because then you get a free skin.
Oh, that works. Okay.
Thing. So yeah, so I'm like, well, we gotta get gold now. So it's
Yeah.
silver one. Just
To be
gotta wait a
fair, I
couple
pulled the
more.
exact same shit on Titanfall, so I was like, season's ending, so I'm like, oh god, gotta play. Gotta
Yeah.
make sure I get my box
I
at the end of
remember
the
those
season. Or whatever.
days where you just bought the skin, you didn't get it in a loot crate.
And
You
that's,
just
for all of their credit, that's totally true. Like, Riot never did the blind box thing, did they?
Well, they actually implemented a box thing.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Of course they did.
And
Should've
you
seen that
get-
coming.
Yeah, your boxes, yeah, your keys, yeah, your. I mean,
But
I
you can
already-
still buy stuff regularly, right?
Oh yeah, you can still buy stuff.
Or earn
regularly.
it the regular way.
It's
Okay.
just like
It's when they
another way of getting it.
Yeah,
It's not
that's
like-
okay. I don't mind that. It's like when Blizzard pulls what they did with Heroes of the Storm, where they take stuff off of sale and you have to get it through a box or through crafting or whatever.
Yeah.
That's what bothers me. It's like I just
Yeah.
want to buy the thing. Just let me buy the thing and get on with it.
Yeah, it's like it's all right to have another option of acquiring.
Yeah, that's
it.
fine. It's totally fine.
Yeah. God, that was like the Overwatch. Okay, so I played Junkerstein again with Overwatch, and it
This is
gave
the
me my
second year they've done
Oh,
this.
Yeah,
it's the same?
it's the same, but they added in like Dragon Symmetra or whatever.
Okay.
Okay.
She's one of the bosses now instead
Right.
of one of the other people. So then,
Gotcha.
literally the same. And I got my Halloween crate. I opened it and I got a non-Halloween legendary, and I was like, "Well, cool." And then I just closed it. I was like, "What's the point?" Like, I wanted my Halloween skin. It didn't even give me a
Yeah.
Halloween skin.
There you go. More loot box nonsense. We can't escape it. Is there anything in the news this week that isn't loot box related? Not really. No. Shadow of War got cracked in under a day, which makes me think that people, like, what the fuck uses Denuvo anymore now? It's like every Denuvo game seems to be getting cracked in under 24 hours at this point.
Honestly, like, yeah, they've figured it out.
Yeah. I mean, for a while, Denuvo was a good option. It was keeping games safe for like weeks, which really is the point of DRM. It's not to keep people out forever, that'll never work, but it's to delay people. You know, it's like, it's the reason you have an alarm on your car. It's not going to deter the most, hardcore thief or whatever. It's why you lock your house. It's not going to deter someone that really wants into your house. But it'll hold it for a couple of weeks, and that's usually enough for a lot of people. It's like, right, well, if I can't pirate it, I guess I'll buy it then. You know, considering it's so easy to buy games these days, you just need to go Steam, click one thing, and then away you go. But it does seem like Denuvo has now passed being useful. So I have to wonder how the hell they're going to survive as a company, because whatever they were doing has been clearly broken completely. Total War Warhammer 2 was cracked in a day as well. It's flimsy. It doesn't do anything.
Apparently, they do have loot crate only skins in LoL. I was
God damn it!
wrong. All right, well, shit, dude.
They're right up there. They're right up there.
I don't
Crendor.
need those skins. I don't need them. I got
Yeah,
my
sure.
skill and my skins.
Yeah, you'll say that right up until you see someone that has that skin, like, I want that skin.
I mean, I haven't even bought any of the loot crate because you just earn the shit through like playing games or whatever. Like I haven't paid money for boxes. I don't even know how their box system works. It's the most confusing box system I've seen. They're like, you get the blue and the orange essence and then the crates, but you need keys. You get 3 keys to a crate, but the one crate needs 4 keys to get a 3-key crate.
The
Also,
fuck?
if you have blue essence, you can dissolve that into a crate, but only if it's a blue essence crate. If it's an orange crate, you need Riot points. If you don't have Riot points, you can't get orange. It's like that type of shit. And I'm like, I
What?
don't know. I'm just going to buy your skin and then...
I don't understand anything anymore.
Doesn't sound fun to me.
Remember when video games?
No, it's been too
No.
long.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I wish.
Oh, God. Let's move on to releases then, shall we? Unless we have anything else in the news, which I don't, as far as I can tell.
I don't.
Yep.
No.
Okay, we're on the release list, so we've been spending the last couple of hours going through this. We've color-coded this shit now. We are.
Yeah, color codes.
Yeah, we're on point with that. We've got a nice little list of releases coming out, and we'll try and show you some of the stuff that looks kind of interesting. And I'll see if I can remember what any of the color codes are. Right, we'll
I'm
go in the order
blue.
they're in. Yep.
I'm orange.
I'm red.
I'm green, and together we make Captain Planet.
We
Can I
do.
do my first one on the list first of NBA
No!
2K18? Because it
No!
ties in. It ties into what we're talking about.
Oh God, fine.
So NBA 2K18 is all reviews, mostly negative, with 4,300 reviews.
One can hardly blame them.
Yes. It's essentially now a DLC pay to win microtransaction fiesta.
Oh
of a
yes,
basketball
yeah.
game.
We heard some really bad shit about that game.
Yeah. So it's just pretty much everyone wants to just like play online and do stuff, and all the reviews are just like money, 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 DLC, money, pay to win, pay to win. So it's just a shit show. Like to the point where people are actually buying NBA Live, even though it's a worse like game overall, because they're like, at least it doesn't have this shit in it. Like
Yeah.
at least they can play in a basketball game without paying money on top of paying money.
Sports games have been going so far in that direction for years, and it's with the old ultimate team shit. Now it's just like
Yeah.
people may have reached their limits. That would be nice if they had. That would be good. And we looked to the sports fans and said, save us from the loot boxes.
And they looked down and they said, no.
Right, now let's go into actual order.
The other like big one today is South Park Fractured But Whole.
Indeed. Yep.
Basically, the only negative reviews for this game have to do with Uplay.
Yeah,
and
there's some issue with that.
Yeah, and anybody who's upset about the day one DLC.
Is day one DLC?
There is. It's just like cosmetic items.
Oh.
Because you dress up your character.
The minute you go into you start
You
the
can
game,
dress
there's a
yourself
bunch of
as a
stuff. Like, you have like 16 inventory items. It's like cool. You go in and it's like it's all behind Uplay. You're like,
Well, I mean, Uplay's been doing that for ages. Like,
But it's fine. You immediately find so many costume items like in the first like 10 minutes. So I didn't really care too much. The other one that I grabbed is Yorkshire Gubbins.
Yorkshire Gubbins.
Yep. A stupendously original and incomprehensibly daft anthology of hour-long point-and-click comedy adventures.
Set inside the most magical of English shires, Yorkshire, or Yorkshire, as it should be. Oh dear. Okay.
Yep.
That looks
there's
kind of
that
neat. Jesse, you were pointing out this is going to fly under the radar for some people. Fairly big RPG release.
yeah, Elix is out today. It's the THQ Nordic game that a lot
Piranha
of
Bytes,
people were comparing to Gothic.
Yes, because the same devs. It's Piranha Bytes. They made Gothic and they made Risen. And they've had, like, I don't know, it's been a very mixed bag. Some of Gothic's good, some of it's not. Like, Risen 1 was good, Risen 2 was fucking terrible. This is a weird one because it's kind of a mix of fantasy and sci-fi.
Yeah, it apparently is like medieval, but takes place in the post-apocalypse.
Yeah.
So like, all right, that's cool. Definitely something to check out in the.
I'm intrigued.
What now?
I'm intrigued. I like the setting. That looks really interesting.
Visually looks cool. It looks really cool.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a shot. Like I said, the stuff that they've done is a very mixed bag, but I'm going to give it a try.
Yeah, the fact that it has like I'm wielding my dual wield swords and a jetpack.
And I have a jetpack, yeah.
I want to see what it's about.
It's hard to ignore something like that. Coming out today, WWE 2K18, another game with loot boxes, but you can't buy the loot boxes. It's all in-game currency stuff, but people still hate it anyway because it's locking like moves and costume pieces that people really want to customize behind random boxes, which is annoying as shit. So I might throw that right out the window and just go back to Fire Pro Wrestling, which we may or may not be doing a massive promo event for later on in the year and having a fake wrestling league, just saying. But, you know, have a look at that. That's out on... Yeah, it's going to be so good. We're going to have a PC release for that. Some people have already played it because they had to pre-order it and get it 4 days early thing. Another one I want to point out that was going to fly under a lot of people's radars. It shouldn't because the original game is really cool. Rogue Trooper Redux. Based on a 2000 AD comic called Rogue Trooper, where you played a genetically modified blue soldier who the souls of his dead companions are in his equipment.
Damn.
It was super cool when it first came out. Really interesting original ideas and really cool dialogue and setting, and they remastered it, basically. A game that didn't get a lot of attention when it first came out, so you might want to have a look at it. It's a third-person shooter, and it's got some really cool tactical elements where you can, like, place your gun down, have it be a turret, and throw your helmet as a distraction and shit. Some cool stuff. Have a look at it. Jackbox
God,
Party
can I,
Pack 4... sorry, go ahead.
I wanted to mention this game isn't on the list because it's early access, but it's releasing in like 2 weeks, which is Mutant League Football.
Oh, is that finally coming out?
Yeah, it's finally out. It's on Steam. I forgot all about it. I'm definitely gonna buy that and play that. Apparently, I mean, you can buy it now and play it for early access, and then, but I mean,
it's coming out for early access in 2 weeks.
so,
Right,
yeah.
I'll have to give that a try.
Yeah.
A bunch of other stuff coming out today. Gran Turismo Sport for PS4, Atreyan Odyssey 5 for 3DS, the Axiom Verge Multiverse Edition is for the Switch today, and apparently Jackbox Party Pack 4 is out today?
Yeah, apparently, right?
Yeah, which is weird. It's on the release list 2 times, one of which is later, so I think this is wrong. Yeah, it's October the 19th according to Steam.
Okay.
So
yeah.
we'll be playing the shit out of that, no doubt. That looks awesome. Survive the Internet in particular looks very fun. Okay, that's about it for stuff on October the 17th. October the 18th, what the hell is this, Dodger?
St. Christopher's School Lockdown? That
Yes.
one?
Yes.
It's another point and click. I don't know. I like the art style felt very like old 90s game to me.
Okay. Fair enough. Urban Rival sounds familiar. Is that like... No. Oh, got it. Yeah, it was that fucking card game that was on, Congregate ages ago. We didn't see anything else, I don't think, on October the 18th that looked all that interesting. So, moving on to October the 19th, there was something called Icebox, which looked kind of neat. Icebox Speed Gunner. So, a run and gun 3D platformer where, you also are using a gun and everything. It reminded me of doing those, Quake speedrun levels that look pretty slick. So, I will put that one on the list. Crendor, are you kidding me on this
Home Run
one?
Solitaire. Now,
Why?
You may be thinking, why Home Run Solitaire?
Yes, I'm definitely thinking that.
Look at some of these screenshots. One of them's a squirrel looking at the baseball, and he says, I keep saying they should make that crazy squirrel the mascot. Then, you look at the next screenshot, and it's these 2 old men. Or no, it's an old man and this kid with a baseball bat. He's like, hey, kid, it's okay if you want to watch the tryouts, but you can't be down here on the field. Stands are that way.
Well,
how is this? I was just looking through this. I'm like, how is this solitaire? And I was just really confused.
It is solitaire, regardless.
And I was just, I just wanted to mention that.
Yes.
I wouldn't buy the game, but I just wanted to mention.
No, I don't think I would either.
Great.
Dodger.
Mirror. We
Yes.
talked about it before. Just reminding you guys, it's actually coming out this time.
Oh yeah, the one with the boobs.
Yeah.
It's the booby game with the match 3.
The honey pop, the game that's honey pop, except
It's like
for-
Halloween honey
Basically,
pop.
yeah.
Oh, that's on my wish list. Yeah.
I'm legitimately excited.
I forgot. It's on my wish list.
yeah,
What?
that one.
I forgot, but I can see that I
It-
definitely.
Amazes me that we're in a time of so many great games. You guys still managed to pick this shit out of there. I don't.
Look, sometimes you just need those games where you can
Yep.
just chill. I think
Exactly.
Mirror is gonna be that chill
Yeah.
game for me. Just match 3, and then suddenly, who knows what'll happen?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Jackbox Party Pack 4, of course, October 19th, not 17th. Party Hard Tycoon.
I'm down for this one. This is gonna be great.
Yeah, it's saying early access. I don't know what kind of state it's going to be. Apparently, they're pretty much in the final stages of development. It's mostly bug testing, but yeah, it's instead of playing a stealthy guy killing people, you run the clubs, and it's it's a club management sim, which actually looks like a lot of fun.
And knowing
So
them, there's gonna be a
can't
lot
wait.
of crazy
Weird shit.
that goes on in the club that you have to deal with. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
the
excited.
first thing they're this is the best party I've ever been to with a hashtag horse. I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah, this is going to be good. Crendor, why do you do
All
this
right.
to me?
door.
Let me tell you why I picked this one. All right, Professional Farmer American
Sake.
Dream. I was like, okay. First, I made fun of what's that? The other farming game,
Farming simulator?
And when I saw this, I was like, I can't believe that Farming Simulator is so popular that people are now making offshoot farming simulators. And so there's Professional
Farming Sim's
Farmer
stupidly
American
popular.
Dream. I don't get why it's so popular. Like,
Jim,
are
I'm
farmers learning how to farm through this?
It's just very relaxing to a lot of people.
The developer, United Independent Entertainment.
Yes.
United
I
and
don't think
they
that
made a
makes any
lot of
sense.
games actually, and they all have thumbs downs.
Yeah,
oh my God,
it's
every
like
game
a
has a
pretty
thumbs
terrible
down.
knockoff. Right, moving on to Jesse's pick.
Yeah, the game that I chose for this day was Think of the Children. It's a game that I played at a few different cons and things, and I really enjoyed it. The basic premise is you are parents taking care of children that are constantly in trouble. And so you can like co-op it and do like crazy stuff together. And it is local co-op as well. So you and a friend, basically you take care of children who are like trouble prone, as we all know.
Yeah.
Except these are like incredibly ludicrous scenarios. There's one
good.
that's a barbecue and the kids are like literally just setting themselves on fire. It's crazy. And so you have to take care of them. And it's very, very silly and funny. And it's one of those things where as you're taking care of one kid, another kid will run out into the street. And as you take care of that kid, another kid starts playing with matches. And it's like, oh my God. And it just becomes too much. And eventually you're like sentenced for how many kids you didn't.
This looks like a blast.
Yeah.
It does. This looks great.
Cool. Dodger, the
The
superlatives?
superlatives Etherfall and Choice of Broadsides are both choose your own adventure novel games.
Yep. Choice of broadsides, I'm going to make the assumption is about naval combat.
I think it's pirates, yeah.
Yes. I just watched the latest Pirates of the Caribbean last night. It was silly, and that was all I wanted out of it.
Great.
There is something that is definitely not silly that's coming out from Zachtronics, the guys that made Space Chem, Infinifactory, and Shenzhen IO. Opus Magnum. Design and build machines that assemble potions, poisons, and more using alchemic engineering's most advanced tool, the transmutation engine. This looks like it will bend your brain to ludicrous extents.
This looks
I
like
wanna
something
play
I'd be bad
this.
at.
Yeah. I don't touch Zachtronics stuff ever, but this looks... I love the presentation of this one in particular. Looks really cool. Big logic puzzle engine. So do not miss that one if you're into the puzzle stuff.
Will hurt to play.
Yes, probably. Couple of Switch releases, including Spelunker Party. God knows what that's all about. A lot of, so like a lot of the indie Switch stuff comes out on the Thursday for some reason. I don't really know why that is, but hey, there you go. Sociable Soccer got delayed again for some reason. That is out on the 20th, apparently. Again, it's the spiritual successor to Sensible Soccer. It's a very easy to play football game, which is probably going to be a lot of fun. Crendor.
All right.
This one actually sounds like a video game. Is it?
Well, what caught my attention is when I went there, the little video started and the guy runs by and a bunch of zombie knights or whatever follow him.
Yes.
And I was looking through the screenshots. I'm like, oh, this actually looks kind of all right. But then I saw it was a tower defense game. So now
Yes.
I'm like,
So why
I
didn't
thought
you
it was
take it
gonna
off
be like
the list?
what's
Okay.
Cathedral? What's that one game where you
I
like
love
have your
tower defense.
castles and it's God, what is that game called? It's like an older game, Cathedral something. There's like multiple versions of it. Hold on, it's probably in my list.
Not sure.
A game about castles doesn't narrow it down that much.
Someone's got to know it. Someone in chat's got to know
Gotta
it.
be honest with you.
You've played it too. Crusader Kings? Is that
No,
it?
Stronghold Crusader is probably where you're looking for.
Stronghold
there.
Crusader.
Yeah, it
that's the
doesn't,
one. I
yeah, it
thought
doesn't
it was
look
gonna
anything
be
like that
an,
whatsoever. Yep.
an indie Stronghold Crusader, and it wasn't that.
It was
and I
not,
Like,
no.
no. So yeah, don't know.
So I found one that looked kind of neat. I'm not sure if this is the sequel to something, but it's called The Inner World: The Last Wind Monk, which is a point and click. By the looks of it, I like the art style on it a lot. I think it's one of the German point and click games, considering they make a lot of point and click games over there. And
There is definitely a game called Just the Inner World.
yes, so I think this is the sequel. It's by Studio Fizbin, published by Calypso and Head Up Games. I really liked the look of it. The aesthetic looks gorgeous. So there's one if you're looking for a point and click. A couple of those this week.
Cool.
Dodger, you have one for October the 20th.
Yeah, In the Shadows is a platformer where you have to like shine lights on shadow creatures to keep them from catching you.
Yeah, looks all right. Jesse,
Yo,
Is it
Fire
finally coming?
Emblem Warriors comes out on the 20th. Y'all need to be buying that shit. gonna be so good.
No, it's another Warriors game.
It's gonna be so good. I'm already like furious. I'll be on a plane when that comes out. I need it. I need it.
But it's a Switch. You can play it.
Yeah, but it won't. It comes out on the 20th, and I need to like have it before. I leave the 19th. So wouldn't it be nice if they release it on the 19th for me?
Yeah, that could be a problem, I guess.
Email them. Can you please release it earlier?
Please release the game early.
It's like, we're above the North Pole and I don't have Wi-Fi to get the game. Please help.
Dear Santa, my name's Jessica.
And I'm going to Australia and bailing on all my friends so I won't go to TwitchCon. And now I can't have my Warriors game.
Yeah, can I just have Warrior?
You didn't earn it. Okay.
Forest Escape. Now, you may be asking yourself, why would you pick Forest Escape? It looks like a perfect Scary Game Squad game.
No, it
Perfect
doesn't.
Scary
It
Game
looks
Squad game.
fucking terrible.
Just look.
Forest Escape? What the
They can't even spell cool. They spelled it ghoul. G-O-O-L. Fuck you. Why do I bring you back here?
Right, you were doing so well. You were doing so well.
Every game you picked is terrible.
Now, let me just
The
move on
good
to my next
one
all right?
isn't even out yet. No, yeah, October the
Next
20th. No, October the 20th. Okay, it's with it. Damn it, it's
Next
Monday.
one I picked
Fine.
was Drag and Drop. All right, Drag and
Okay.
Drop. It's like drag and drop, like, but it's a dragon. Drag and Drop. So it's a drag and drop with a drag and drop. You see,
Ooh.
I thought that was a
Kill
great
me.
play on words. It had some cute little like animals in it and stuff. Maybe that'd be good. I don't know.
I'm gonna go with no, but
My last game is called High Hell. and
This is
it's
what we're
a
currently in,
first-person
yeah.
shooter game with that just looks totally bonkers, but it looks fun.
yeah, made by one of the guys who was involved in Enter the Gungeon and another guy who did Heavy Bullets, which was kind of a first-person roguelite-y thing. Published by Devolver. I think I'm playing this at TwitchCon, actually. I was going to have a look at it a couple of days before it came out. Yeah, it looks kind of neat. We'll see where that goes. And that is it, thankfully.
But house dating VR cute Korean girl Sehun.
No. Nope.
It's house dating VR cute
Nope.
Korean girl Sehun.
Nope. That's past next week. That's outside
What's
the bounds.
What I should look at? The one that was like sexy girls.
It's the top list of October 25th, right there.
Oh my god. Is that the one? Is that the game?
Yeah. Cute Korean girl Sehun.
I'm not.
Do you
not
want a
doing
cute
it.
girlfriend? Have you ever dreamed of dating cute Korean girl? Here is real Korean girlfriend, Sehun.
It's
You
a
can date
VR
Sehun anytime you want in the VR world. Enjoy the dating in her house. You can compliment her, express your love, make her feel love the more she feels.
Dodgy, you
That's the
remember
description.
like just before the show when you reminded me that I said that I wouldn't like Crendor back on the podcast? You remember that 3 hours ago? And I said, no, he's got better now, honest.
Can we just talk about how house dating VR cute Korean girls
No!
is developed by Studio Thug Life?
Studio Thug Life. This is the only game they've made.
I push my fingers into my eyes.
That's all I wanted to mention. I mean, I
Thanks for
won't
watching
even.
the Co-optional podcast, everybody.
Thank God we didn't have a sponsor this week.
That's all I wanted to mention.
We didn't have a sponsor this week.
Listen,
'Cause
I know you'd
because the
skip
new
over it next
Crendor
week,
was
so I
gonna
had to
be
mention
on.
it. I
God
knew you'd
damn it.
skip over it next week.
Of course I
had to
would.
mention-
Rightfully so.
That's setting the tone for VR. That's gonna push the industry forward.
Oh dear.
Studio Thug Life.
Christ.
Studio Thug Life.
Thanks for watching the Co-optional podcast. Tell us what the fuck you're doing this week. Dodger, you're the only one coherent. You speak.
Hi everybody, I'm Dodger. I'm at Deck Credits on everything, including Twitch. And there isn't a ton going on with me because TwitchCon is right around the corner.
Yep. But
this week. Hey everybody, go drink my coffee. You can find it at dodgercoffeeco.com. We offer whole beans and pre-ground beans and cold brew. And the cold brew is great because it's way less acidic, but like double the caffeine. So, yeah, it's all delicious. I would love it if you would check it out. DodgerCoffeeCo.com. Winku.
Yes.
I was going to review your coffee. I was going to buy the whole beans. I was going to ground them, pour over, and give you the actual review
You were
of whether
going
it's good or
to,
not.
And now
Well,
you're not.
But you didn't.
Well, I was hoping to get a free sample, but I haven't gotten a free sample yet.
Of course, free shit, yes.
I'll send it to you. I'll send you some coffee.
Can we?
Thank
Can we
you.
think of it?
No.
Can we think of it?
Whatever it is, no, we can't.
All right, I'm gonna use my time to promote myself.
Fuck's sake. Okay, fine. I will deal with the promo of our panels at TwitchCon. Jesse, you go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna use my time to promote myself to say I don't care about promoting myself. I want to say that if you look at Crendor, he's half cut off on the screen on Twitch, and he looks like an old serf in like 1100 England. I just want to point that out. He looks like he's like work in the field, you know.
Job's done.
I just want to point that out. I haven't watched the stream.
Be a very good peasant from Warcraft 2.
Been working for Studio Thug Life, my lord.
Yes, my lord. Job's done. You're Baldrick. You are the Baldrick of this podcast. There's no doubt.
Listen, I'm very homeless. Look, my hair's out of control now.
Very homeless.
My hair's out
Yeah,
of
I can
control.
tell by the home you're in. Anyway. Yes, I'll be at TwitchCon as well, and that's I'm going to be on the West Coast for actually almost 3 weeks. I'll be at BlizzCon. I'm at
I'll be at
TwitchCon.
BlizzCon.
Yes, cool. And
He's gone.
it's just done. I hate you so much. Oh God.
Listen, we can go somewhere. I'll read you off a wine list again, all right? We can go get some dinner.
I'm
I'll
not
read you off
buying
some
you
wine.
dinner again.
I'll buy my own dinner.
Good.
all right?
You already come with me because I pay for your food.
Buy me wine, and I'll pay for the rest.
No, that's the most expensive bit. Anyway, TwitchCon. We're going to be doing the Cooptional Lounge podcast from the Twitch Present stage. Going to be on Sunday, ladies and gents. So check that one out. You can attend if you happen to be at TwitchCon. That would be great. If you're not, understandable. We will be broadcasting on the Sunday. I think it's 2:30.
2:30, yeah.
Yeah.
You and I are also on the same meet and greet.
Yes,
yeah?
which I think is directly afterwards. Yeah, so we're doing 2:30 till 4, the Cooptional Lounge. Guests will be myself, Dodger, Strippin, In Control, and possible mystery fifth guest. We'll see.
Oh.
Yep, so that'll be good. It will not be Crendor. He's not involved
That's
in
not me. I'm not
in
going
any
to
way. No, he's not going to TwitchCon. I will be on one of the panel, but that'll be about it. I might sneak on the random panels and see how it goes, but I think there is a meet and greet directly afterwards that'll be myself, Dodger, and Strippin. So you could do that. Okay. I think that's what they were planning on anyway. That's what Twitch told me.
The meet and greet that I'm on is on Saturday.
Oh, yours is on Saturday. Right. I will have to double check that with Twitch. Find out which one they've put me on. Because they said, hey, you're on with this person. It's like, yeah, I know this person. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Jesse just given up on life. I don't blame him.
I bet he had to go to the bathroom and he just used that as an excuse.
Oh, of course he did, yes.
Yeah.
Outside of that, that's pretty much going to be about it. Just keep an eye out for random stuff from TwitchCon, broadcasts, and of course BlizzCon. There will be content. I will be in the offices next week for the podcast. As for who's going to be on that outside of Dodger, we don't know because Jesse's gone. He's in Australia. We'll find somebody, though.
Replace him with Alex. He's a funny man.
Yeah, probably do that.
Alex is a funny boy.
I love Alex.
Probably do that. And, of course, my mod is out, and I'd love you to play it. AxiomMod.com gives you all the information you could need to get started. Please give it a shot. AxiomMod.com. And if you don't have StarCraft, that's fine. You can download the Starter Edition for free and play it anyway. So that's all good. All right. We're about done.
Twitch TV/Crendor. YouTube.com/WatchCrendor, Facebook.com/Crendor, Twitter.com/Crendor, a whole bunch of places you can check me out. I'm going to stream South Park today. Check that out. Twitch TV Crendor, guys.
Cool.
Please subscribe.
Yeah. You know the bit of the
Please
show
drop
like
bits.
where you're supposed to promote your stuff and you didn't, and then you just did?
I didn't even hear a promotional slot for me.
Yeah, we never gave him one.
You never gave me a slot.
I mean, I just mostly assume at this point.
I'm just set up on this show to fail. This is
Pretty much, yeah. I'm going to leave this burning train wreck now, as I suggest everyone else does. Thank you very much for watching the show, folks. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.